All right, ladies and gentlemen, you could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. We appreciate you. Welcome to the DC TV Podcast Network's coverage, our post show, our reaction, if you will, to DC's FanDome 2 event. I am one of your hosts, the Godfather Nate Milton, aka Brother Nate from the Black Lightning Podcast. And tonight I will be joined by various members of the family, various members of the team, various members of our Paragons of Podcasting. And joining me right now, we have two of our family members. We got Mimi and we got Andy. So go ahead and introduce yourselves to the good people out there.
Andy,
ladies first.
Okay, hi, I'm Mimi. I do Batwoman. I'm going to try my best not to swear. I'm being better about that on recording during our reactions for Batwoman. You can hear it. I'm doing good. I'm also drinking coffee again because I work weird hours, so I'm going to regret this.
I didn't know you had stopped. So, like, but you know what helped?
There was a brief pause in between, like, watching the panel. Now we're here.
It was a hiatus. Okay. Well, I'm Andy.
It was a break.
We were on a break. My name is Andy. For those who don't know, I run this network of DCT podcasts, and I co-host the Flash podcast and Titles podcast. And normally I don't sound like this, but I'm having my first cold of the year. Luckily, I'm on the recovery wave, so like I sounded way worse at the beginning of the week. So and I'm getting myself tested for this thing we're probably not going to say on YouTube, but yeah, I'm happy to be here for this little impromptu experiment, I guess, because I know some of the other shows on the network has done this with StreamYard and YouTube, and some of us haven't. So like this is kind of exciting. It's new. It's fresh.
Yes, we're in new territory. So this is a whole new world. This is the first time I've used StreamYard, so this will be fun. Apparently, I see we're on Twitter right now. We're live on Twitter, and I'm assuming we're live on YouTube as well. So this should be fun. So if anybody out there is watching and wants to interact and leave their thoughts and comments on FanDome 2 Electric Boogaloo, you can do so, and we shall respond to your comments. So so this is, I guess, let me set things up. So September 12th, today, FanDome 2, the second such FanDome event put out by the good people at Detective Comics. Of course, the first one was back in August, where they focused primarily, on the movie side of things. And today was when we were told that we'd be getting more information on the TV side. And so we decided to come on and talk about it. I guess first impressions, before we even talk about, specific shows, guys, what did you make of the way that things were kind of done? And as I say that, we're going to bring on another member of the team here. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Black Lightning Podcast, Clement Bryan is in the building. How you doing, Clement?
What's good? What's good?
Not much, brother. We're just getting started, and before we're going to get into specific shows, we're talking about kind of the setup, the way that FanDome 2 was different than the original FanDome back in August. And so what was your first impression, guys? Because last time they had a set schedule for everything, whereas this time the power was in your hands. Everything was a la carte. Everything went live at 1:00, and you got to make your own schedule. How did that work for you this time as opposed to last time?
I guess I'll go first. I think that they were trying to replicate the feeling of being at a con where you can go like anywhere you want. If you're at San Diego, there's tons of stuff for you to do outside of the convention center. You can go across the street into the gas lamp, and there's tons of stuff for you to do. There's activations. You can go to bars. You can go to restaurants. And in the convention, you still have a lot to do. So I think that they were trying to replicate it, but when I came in, it was kind of confusing, and also the fact that they had a lot of down gateways. You got that, 802 or 502 bad gateway or whatever for the first 30 minutes.
Those numbers ever again.
Yeah, like that. Like for me, for them to be able to kind of even pull off FanDome is a miracle in itself because of actor schedules, the technology, whatever. But that said, the fact that they split it in half and they pushed it to September 2nd or 12th, I kind of feel like they had enough time to figure out troubleshoot in a way. I mean, you can never really know what's going to happen until you go completely live, because I've been there myself, but I don't want to be too hard on them. But it's also kind of like you guys had enough time to figure out what was going on. And I think a big part of what happened was the layoffs that happened about almost a month ago at this point.
Yeah.
Which is
right
why
before the last FanDome, ironically enough.
So I think that probably played into it more than they thought it would. But my impressions are still, I had enough fun, but there weren't enough reveals for them to kind of split it off into two, for me at least. I feel like they could have had at least a lot of the panels that we had today on the original FanDome day, or broken up into 2 days where you had it like, okay, film on Saturday and you had this on Sunday, rather than take that break where a lot of people, I saw a lot of tweets were like, oh crap, I forgot FanDome was this weekend. Like, kind of to keep it in the memory. That's kind of my thoughts. How do you guys feel?
Well, I was more impressed with. Anyway, let me make this perfectly clear.
What's that here?
I think this was one of the most ambitious things that any company has done. Like, because of what's going on this year. I think Warner and DC they have something great here, something smart here. And part one was exactly how they should have done this for part two. Because I agree with your comment. There wasn't enough reveals today that made me go, wow. Like,
wait, hold on. Time out, Andy. Speaking of reveals, what you snacking on over there, Clement? Did you bring enough for the room?
Clement was like, I forgot there's a mute button.
Now you making me hungry.
I got rosemary focaccia bread.
I'm just glad he's eating. So, not that he has an issue eating. I'm just, You
want him to keep his strength up?
The thing is, Clement works like a lot. Like, I don't think he has weekends. So, like, when I hear that he's actually like just when he's just being a normal human being, like, I'm just happy. Like, if Ashley would have texted me one day and say, he's napping, I'm like, it's like Christmas to my ear. It's like sweet Christmas.
Well, you'll be happy to know that yesterday was one of my first days off working. So I'm off until Wednesday, but.
Oh my God, that's like vacation.
That's a vacation for you, dog.
But I still got work to do on Monday. I have Showrunner calls on Monday, so I got stuff to do on Monday. So,
well, either way, I think there wasn't enough today to warrant that much excitement. I mean, yes, it's great to see the cast together again. It's great to see the producer and just just seeing everyone being excited and wanting to get back to filming and so on. But like September 12th is nothing compared to August 22nd. Like August 22nd was like, I'm gonna sound like a teenager, but it was iconic. Like for me, like I couldn't stop thinking about DC FanDome after August 22nd. Like I was gushing about it at work, and like I don't know how many times that we watched the Batman trailer, and like. I'm not even a Nirvana fan, but that song is in my head now, and so like there was just so much good to come out of it. And today, I mean, we did get some really cool stuff that we were going to talk about later, but for me, I just felt that there wasn't a Snyder Cut thing. There wasn't anything on that level that got me like, you know what, this was worth making 2 parts. But either way, beside the technical difficulties. Decide the insane scheduling they had today. I hope if next year, if we're still in a situation where it's still not safe to go to cons, and it's still not safe to bring everyone together and so on, that we still do something like a virtual event, because now they learn. Now they say, okay, here's what we did. This is what we did right last year. Yeah. Let's see what maybe not do a bunch of layoffs next time, but I think that's a separate issue either way. So, to make a long story short, like I feel like Clement in many ways that there was no reason why they should have been two. They could have done it across 2 days, like between Saturday and Sunday, but there's no reason why we should have to wait a whole month to see part 2. So
yeah, like I definitely feel like, you know, you do have to give them credit for creating this in the first place, you know, part 1 and 2, because I feel like it's a lot of work, particularly when you talk about the people that unfortunately lost their jobs. But like, Mimi, I don't know how you felt, but for me, like, there was 2 things with this. Number one, it was like a technical thing, like Clement alluded to, where the laptop stream was choppy. So then I went to the phone, and it wasn't really hitting on my phone. And finally, about 20 minutes later, I put it on the smart TV, humble brag. You know, I hit that internet on the smart TV, and I was able to watch everything, and it was fine from there on out. But that initial 20 minutes, it was just kind of like, really, this is what we got going on. And then the other thing, which I think, you know, you were speaking to before we went on tonight, is, yeah, it was cool to see the cast, and there were some really fun panels. But what new did we really learn tonight? So how did you feel about the day?
So like I work like 7 to 4 on the weekends at the moment with like a roadside assistance company. So I was like creeping online to see if anything interesting was happening. And like I eventually was watching the Batwoman one beforehand so I could like know what to talk about. And I was just like, wow, that had nothing. And like I just saw everyone else complaining about the streaming issues. And I agree with you guys. Like it really should have been, or it's amazing that they pulled this off and that they even did this. Like, that's so cool. And it's like, wow, if we're stuck in this for quite some time, I'd love it if like more networks sort of attempted to pull this off. That's really cool. And like, in a way, it's smart because you can keep everyone distance and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you did all the cool movies. It's like, I go to Comic-Con every year when that's a thing. Friday and Saturday are the biggest days. You could have done all the movie stuff on Saturday, and then Sundays is the kids' day. Not that this is a kids' day by any means, but like you could have done the TV stuff on Sunday back in August, and you could have like owned Twitter for like a solid weekend.
Yeah.
Not because you just dropped all the cool movie trailers, or like the new Wonder Woman trailer and the Batman trailer. Like there was so much stuff like back in August that I was like, wow, this is so cool. And then they were like, surprise, all the shows are being pushed to September. And I'm like, my excitement just like lowered, you know, just like, oh, I have to wait how long to get any information on anything else I watch? Cool.
I think that was the thing for me. Like, you hit it on the head. Like, they could have owned Twitter and social for a whole weekend.
Yeah.
But they had to stand
because you remember how many views did he have after part 1? I think it was somewhere like in the millions.
Yeah. Like part 1 crushed, and then the day, like I said, I had fun today, but it's not nearly the same impact, like you're saying, Clement, on social media that part 1 had.
Everyone was just disappointed from what I saw, and I was like, I feel bad, but also I don't, because they had time to fix stuff.
See, here's what's so freaky to me is that, okay, so this kind of reminded me of San Diego Comic-Con at home, where they release the panels on their YouTube page at a certain time, and you can just fast forward for things and so on. So it's like, you know, they kind of like, for example, they even before I got to the part where Tyler Heckler was talking about, like, I'm getting a new suit when Superman Lois premieres, people had already spoiled it for me because people were able to fast forward. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, go ahead. No, you had.
No, I didn't mean. I don't want to interrupt you. I think you were really onto something there. But
we share one brain, so you finish it for me.
But like, I think that's the thing. It's like we got a little cool things. Like the Young Justice panel was really dope. Did you guys watch that where you had the voice actors acting out an unreleased scene that was kind of like.
Yeah,
teeing up what happened between.
I tear up when I see them. I tear up when I see the actors in real life doing the voices. Not because I don't like it, because I do like it, but just like for me, you know, watching Jason Spicek, or whatever, however you say his name, who was like, I think maybe one of my first interviews I ever did for the Flash podcast, and like, because you know he's Wally, he's our Wally, and we don't know what's going on with Wally right now. So like for me, I'm like, and because I'm sick, I'm trying not to cry because that really f's up my nose, and so I'm just not gonna look at this right now. So, but that was cool. That was cool, but still, it's like, you know, and I don't want to like, I don't think there's anything wrong in wanting to say well, yes, we're excited to see everyone come together, but we just want to get it announced. But there's nothing wrong with it because the thing is, we've been contentless since April.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, we got a question in the chat, Andy, and I don't know if you know this. Question is, do we know when all of these panels were recorded for part 1 and part 2?
It seems because based on everyone's clothing. Because my God, and because I feel like I'm saying her name wrong, but Javisha Leslie's, she was wearing the same things as she wore in part 1. So I think they did everything like on just one day. Because because they released an extended version of the Flash panel, the Times panel, so and everyone was still wearing the same thing. So like this must have been recorded in June at the very least.
And that makes sense from a scheduling standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would say like late May to late June. They probably didn't do it all one day. Like they probably did like the Boss and the Batwoman panels in the same day because like you're saying Javicia was wearing the same thing. But like as someone who's dealt with actor schedules, it's insane. Dealing with like 2 actors is insane. So dealing with everyone here, I'm sure they probably did it over a series of maybe like a week and a half to maybe 3 weeks. And then one thing I noticed on today's stream, they had captions captioning all of these panels would have taken a lot of time. So like recording, editing, post, testing, the whole shebang probably took about 2 to 3 months for them to do.
Yeah.
And then you have the technical part, which is a whole nother thing. So
that sounds right, because I figured like even us just getting together, like you folks out there wouldn't believe like the amount of demands in Mimi's rider. Like she had to have green jelly beans, purple M&Ms. Like where am I gonna find purple M&Ms, Andy B? So we had to put all this together. I can see how it takes, like just getting all these people on the same page in terms of scheduling. This had to have been done, like you were saying, months ago. Yeah,
it would have had to, and then they split it up. So I mean, but I think that technical element is key, and that's why we had the whole bad gateways, because no one knew how that was gonna go. Like, I remember Star Trek ran into something with YouTube earlier this year when they had one of their things. So it's like that technical element is really unpredictable. And so I don't.
Well, speaking on that, Clement, because I did have a question for the rest of you guys, because obviously last time in August there was a set schedule where you had to be at a certain thing at a certain time, whereas this was more like Thanksgiving dinner, right? Because I feel like each of us probably had 2 or 3 panels that we definitely wanted to check out today, and so I had my 2 or 3 that I was gonna watch first. But then after that, like you go back onto the Watchverse screen, and it's like a bunch of different shows. And it's like, what do I do next? Is it the mashed potatoes, the green beans, the candy yams, the mac and cheese? So did you guys find it not difficult in terms of actually navigating through the things, but in terms of being able to make your own choices versus having a set schedule for the day?
Well, I can barely run a network of podcasts, so like me navigating through a bunch of panels is even more of a disaster. But no, I would just, because it's so easy to forget what was actually supposed to happen today and in part 1. So like when you go back through the recap and so on, you're like, oh, there was this panel, I should check it out. And so like for example, I completely forgot about Nubia Real 1. Happened today, and I watched it, and I'm like, I think Nubia is a really cool character. I think we need to see more of her. So I'm like, I'm gonna go pre-order the book today, and that's because I was reminded that the panel was happening today. And but I feel like there's something went wrong. Like I just cannot understand why there was such a lack of like. For example, because Nate and I, we were talking about this for 2 weeks, trying to make 60 do something today.
Yes.
And throughout the whole 2 weeks, we were like, so have you updated the schedule? No. Do you know anything about the schedule? No. It's almost like 10 a.m. Pacific time for you? Yeah. Has it been updated for you yet? No. Are you reading all the panels at the same time? I think so. And it kind of went back and forth like that. Now, of course, me and Nate, we talk way more funnier than that. So like that was just like a very abridged version of it. The point being, there was a lack of information that I don't understand why. There wasn't. Why there had to be a lack of information. There should have been, everything should have been made perfectly clear. Like, even me covering it, I'm like, I asked editors, I asked people from other websites, like, have you heard anything from DC or WB at all? Like, what they're doing? And they're like, no, we're just assuming they're going to release everything at once on Saturday.
See, and that's the thing. It's like when you're dealing with, press, journalists, PR reps, who are tracking. Like there was a new legend. They announced today that there's going to be a new legend on season 6 of Legends. Yep. Their PR reps are looking for that drop so they can be like, look, our client is now announced as the new cast of whatever. So I think, like you're saying, Andy, the whole communication aspect, like I didn't really see them push anything on social until earlier this week.
Yeah.
And I think they probably, like, in hindsight, and like we all know the term in hindsight is 2020. We all know that term. But for me,
for those who don't know, maybe explain it so that they do know, like, because not everyone works in the fields that we all do and so on.
Wait, what'd you say?
Maybe explain. Maybe for those who are watching right now, maybe do explain it to them. So because not everyone works in the fields that the four of us do with podcasting and journalism and marketing and so on.
So I can't say where I work. But I work as a social media lead and producer for a TV network. Handled everything from small TV shows to big films, indie films, and I'm working on a really big show that comes out, let's just say, in the next 2 years. But basically, so I handle a lot of working with talent, posting on social, copywriting, PR, content strategy, social media strategy, the whole 9 yards. So, and I come from working for agencies where I have clients to do this, where I have people to answer for. So like, if I wasn't posting something, letting people know that this is happening, a big event like this, I would have to answer for it. So I think, I would have liked to see them like push a little bit more messaging to try to remind people, because I was surprised at how many people I know who are like who we associate with are like, oh yeah, I forgot FanDome was this weekend. What are they doing this weekend? And no one really knew what the deal was. So that's what I'll say. But I want to give DC credit because I saw someone ragging on them hard on the first day, ragging them like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen from DC. Like, and I'm like, it's not by far the worst thing that we've ever seen from them.
Was it Kevin Feige?
Is Kevin Feige's burner account?
No,
We're gonna cast Ray Fisher. We're gonna cast Ray Fisher now.
Kevin Feige doesn't even know how to tweet. Like,
I mean, he tweets. He's like.
It's probably his freaking manager. Or Kevin Feige thinks he has Twitter, but he's actually just using Snapchat. He's like, all these photos are so great. Here's me as a woman.
There shall be no Feige slander on this.
No, I love Kevin Feige.
I'm kidding.
If I had that money, I would have like 20 people to tweet for me. Like I wouldn't do anything if I was Kevin Feige.
I mean, Kevin, okay, Kevin Feige.
This is not Marvel.
I think like this guy was saying, like, this is the worst thing that they've ever done. They had no reveals. This is nothing. And I'm like, you had literally a co-watching experience for how many hours? Over a case of like 6 hours. With every trailer drop going consistently. And I think that's the one thing that I enjoy for FanDome weekend 1 versus weekend 2. Everyone I love that you said page.
That. Yes, thank you, Clement, because I was speaking with Breeze Riley from the Flash podcast earlier today, and it was like last time it was like a communal event, right?
Yeah,
because all of these things are getting dropped at the same time, and people are reacting to them at the same time. Whereas now, like you went on Twitter at 1:00 today, and you had some people talking about Black Lightning, some people talking about Flash, some people talking about Legends. Like there was no kind of community. Everybody's watching FanDome, but it wasn't, the same kind of sense of community as it was back in August, Mimi.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like we know they let go a lot of people, but at the end of the day, I'm not worried when DC and Marvel let people go. They have money. I'm just saying, like, yeah, it sucks that everything's been pushed back because of what we're dealing with, but I've been seeing paid promotion ads for FanDome back in August. Like, I was seeing that for weeks. I was seeing advertisements for it, like commercials and stuff on Instagram and things like that. It's like
they're playing commercials during the NBA playoffs.
Yeah,
like,
you pushed it.
Yeah, I didn't know until yesterday.
You pushed it so hard, and then I sometimes saw people post, like I saw some of the promoted tweets about it, but not really. You're mainly promoting other stuff, which I get it, and like
they're owned by AT&T and Disney, so like it's not like they don't have the resources.
Yeah, like they can do it. At least I'd like to hope so. If they can't, then I'm scared.
I think with the resources, I think there's also like in terms of budget is one thing that kind of people forget about, and I don't think we're forgetting about it, but like. They probably spent so much money on weekend one with the NBA spot because that costs a ton of money to do. And you're talking about paid ads, promoted tweets, Instagram ads. They probably went hard on it. And so I wagered that they probably went so hard on weekend one that whatever funds that they had over weekend two wasn't as impactful. And that's why we didn't have so much impactful messaging leading into this weekend.
It's like if you're a kid and your birthday's in January and your parents spend all the money at Christmas, so in January you get here's a pack of gum and a notebook, kid. Happy birthday.
My birthday is January 7th. Sometimes I luck out and I get Hanukkah, Christmas, and my birthday, so I'm always spoiled, but I understand that life. It's never happened to me.
Boys, listen. That was also her way of saying that we need to get her something for January 7th. So
I won't stop you.
I mean, now I know you're drinking coffee again, even though I didn't know if you were on a break.
I never stop. I just like leave the cup in a room and then walk away and go, "Oh, I have coffee still."
Yeah, so like we can figure something out, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we got to this because I asked Clement like explain 2020 and he hindsight 2020 and he's like, here's what I do that I can't tell you about.
I get it, man. Like.
I mean, but I can't because
no, but like, yeah, the only question I asked Clement that you kind of just deferred from was for those who are watching who may not know what a term means, maybe we should explain it to them.
I heard you. I thought you asked me what I did. No, so hindsight means basically like. Anyways, hindsight means looking back, you realize everything that you should have done back then. The kind of thing of like. Okay, well, I'll put this off, and I'll let future me handle it. I'll let those guys handle it. I'll let those guys handle it instead of thinking of it then and acting on it then. So, or hindsight, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. It's like those questions don't come up until you're actually in it and you're actually doing it, where you actually were like, damn it, I should have done this. I should have did this tick thing. Oh, I should have been going to the gym more. Oh, stuff like that. That's the vibe.
Hopefully the next time they pull this off, because this probably did well for them, like I like to hope so, at least with the first one. Like it was so, we don't have conventions right now. I mean, yes, there are the at-home ones, but it was exciting back in August to be like, oh, I get all these deadline emails. I've been ignoring all of this situation, and now I'm getting trailer after trailer after trailer. Then today we're just like, I'm gonna sneak on during work.
I mean, I even went as far as creating like a playlist on my YouTube channel, like. For all the fan trailers that came out, so I can just like the next day just, I mean, brother Nate, you're not the only one with a smart TV, so like just leaning back and just watching.
Okay, bougie. Andy over here, bad and bougie.
I have a smart TV too. I don't want to be left out. I have a smart TV.
All right, I should.
Yeah, so like just leaning back and just watching Robert Pattinson being hot and sexy as Batman. Who, by the way, we're all I think we're all sending our. Best wishes for him as he has been affected by the what, so we hope he can get back to filming the Batman.
Him and a brother Black Adam, Dwayne Johnson, and his family.
Yeah, I read an article with Dwayne. Apparently they are okay. It was like we had it. It's just like a weird. They were towards the tail end of it supposedly. I read an article, so I freaked out. I like walked into the kitchen and told my fiance, I'm like, The Rock has it, and he was like, what? What do you mean? I was like, The Rock has it. And then it was like, oh, wait, they're okay. But, like, also sad for Pattinson because, like, also, isn't that movie not even finished filming, obviously, because of everything? But, like, that's only, supposedly 25%? Wow.
At the time when the trailer was released, yeah.
Like,
And-
dang.
And that's the thing, man. Yo, what'd you say, Mimi?
I just didn't expect. It's one of those movies where it's like it's in the back burner of my mind, where it's like, oh, cool, it's gonna like come out at some point.
Right.
And I watched the trailer, and I'm like, I'm hyped for a Batman thing. I was excited for the casting and everything because like, wow, this is really cool. But now just like, whoa, that looks nice, like real nice.
Yeah, the fact that they've somehow made the Riddler sound intimidating. I mean,
Yeah.
Gotham's Riddler was pretty horrifying too, because for Michael Smith, he's a great actor. But whatever Paul Runo is doing, because I've heard him speak in real life before, and he sounds nothing like Edward Nash whatsoever from this trailer. Sorry, Nate. I know you had a agenda, so you know.
I got an agenda.
No, like you SJW, Nate.
Always pushing these agendas out here.
All you want
like Captain America. Everyone has agendas.
no, but like, because I'm trying to figure out like what my like favorite thing from today is. But I feel like everything we got today was kind of obvious. If you want to get into that, Nate.
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of we've got another Paragon who should be on their way here pretty soon.
Yo, listen, we need to merchandise this crap. Like we need the Paragon of Podcasters.
Andy, we got a whole TeePublic store. Where are these shirts at, man?
Someone commented saying they wanted to know if this should be on the podcast feed. Andy, boys, yay!
Yeah, I believe StreamYard automatically gives you the audio, but
here's what I'm gonna do. You're right, Tom. If I say yes, will you stay through the whole thing, or are you gonna leave us because we say that it'll be available?
Oh, that's new, Rachel.
Maybe. I don't know yet. I can say yes, and then it depends on when my dog demands dinner.
Mm.
A tiny dog. She needs to be fed.
Oh, I will say this. New Rachel, like, shout out to new Rachel because she is like one of the most hard. I mean, and it's like we love all our listeners, but she's one of the most hard dedicated listeners we've ever had. Like, since like the beginning, like I feel like I've seen new Rachel like definitely since 2016 at least. So like she shows up for everything. She does. She helps with all the charity shows and so on. So yeah, like we love you, Rachel, but like just don't leave us because we're experimenting with this, But
yes, this is a work in progress.
Yeah, but it will be available on some of the feeds. For the podcast. Let's say someone from Starville Podcast shows up. If they show up, they can put it up on their feed too and stuff. But otherwise, it'll be on Black Lightning, it'll be on Batwoman, be on Flash and Titus because I count as both. And yeah.
Well, Andy, since you started listing off shows, let's get into the actual shows. And what people chose to watch today. So obviously, the first show I turned on because I'm a mark for the brand was the Black Lightning. So for those that didn't watch the Black Lightning panel, it was really interesting because the first, I want to say 5-10 minutes, they did like this 90s trivia thing. And at first I was like, this is kind of cool, but I'm hoping like this isn't the bulk of the panel. And like first of all, Robert Townsend, who has directed a couple episodes and also played Napier in a few episodes, was the moderator. And like after about 5 or 10 minutes of the trivia, they hopped into actually talking about the show and talking about what they liked so far and what they were hoping for the future seasons. And I was really impressed with the cast. I think that's something that all of these shows have in common, guys, is that regardless of how you feel about particular creative decisions or maybe some of the writing choices for these shows, like they're really well cast. And I just kind of enjoyed seeing Cress and Nefessa and China and Jordan and Crondon, who retweeted me today. So shout out to Crondon. A lot of the Black Lightning cast retweeted me today. Chantel, Chris Emmanuel. So shout out to the Black Lightning cast. But it was just kind of cool seeing their thoughts on the show and also speaking about kind of real world stuff going on. And I'll toss it to you first, Clement, because that is our show. But did you have a chance to check out the panel? And if so, what did you think?
The Black Lightning panel? Yeah, I thought it was cool. I know one thing that we've been talking about, Nate, in the Black Lightning podcast and our sessions is, will Salim and his writing crew kind of bring in what's been going on with like Black Lives Matter and like the George Floyd protests and Jacob Blake and everything that's been going on. And they hit on it really well. To the point of I was like, wow, like I had to stop the panel for a minute. And I was like, wow, they really addressed it well. And they were even like, knowing Salim, he's going to be putting in it, because I don't think they can really answer anything that's 100% right now, just because of what's been going on with the pandemic. But they hit it. They didn't even shy away from it, and the whole cast got into it. And I was really impressed by that.
I think one of my favorite moments was because they were talking about what's going on in terms of the come to Jesus moment, or the reckoning that America's having right now with race. And Jordan Calloway had said something really profound, and then out of nowhere, out of nowhere, Uncle Gamby, James Remar is like, and Martin Luther King said that the arc of justice is long, but it bends towards good. And I was like, okay, Uncle Gamby.
And then he was like, I'm done.
He's like, I'm done.
I am such a Gamby stan that I'm like
a Stanby.
I'm a Stanby. I'm such an effing Stanby.
Yeah, that cast is just so great, and
it's a very good cast.
It was that's what I was kind of waiting for, Andy. Like, yes, we didn't get any like big teases of what's to come or big surprises or big reveals, but hearing the cast kind of talk about what's going on in the real world, and yes, acknowledging that they're going to talk about it next season. Like, I thought it was cool seeing all of them together.
Yeah. No, I think it's just fun seeing those cast getting together and so, because like they haven't seen each other for months.
Yeah. So, and I love Christine's real accent. Like, it's beautiful.
Oh my God.
So good. I was about to say that. That was so good. Did you catch? He was like, I really don't want.
I really don't want to be on drugs on the floor next season,
or digging in the toilet.
Digging in the toilet for green light pills. Christine Adams is amazing.
Look, Christine, when I got reminded that she was British last summer at the Blood and Bougie party. I love. Yeah, it's one of the best parties. Shout out to Michelle and Lamont and everyone who made that happen. But I remember, like, cause she knew that I was with Black Lightning Podcast. So like when she said, "Oh my God, hello, darling," and I'm like, "All right, she's British. I forgot about that." Because like I'm so used to her, because I watch her on Agents of Shield and Black Lightning and so on.
Yeah.
And so like she, like I really thought she was, like she had an American accent all the time and so on. But like she is one of the sweetest people. And again, I think her casting is the one where like when she was cast, I'm like, finally she's getting like this big gig, because I see her on on Doctor Who and so. I'm like, she's too good to just be like a guest star. She should have her own show. And so it's always fun, and it was funny because last year, because I'm like, we were staying at the same hotel, and I'm like, Christine, like I think I saw you the first night. Like, were you having issues like getting getting her room settled so on, because like she kept going back and up and so on. I'm like, and she told me the whole thing, and again, it was just that's kind of what's kind of thing, fun when you meet these cast in real life. They're just as nice as to see them on like whenever they do these kind of virtual events and so on. So like her being like, I don't want to do any more drugs for my life. I'm like, you know what? The woman deserves it. If she says she doesn't want to do it, then don't make her do it.
And she is so great. Mimi, did you get a chance to see that panel?
I still need to, so I'm going to do that when we're done.
Okay, they
excited. You guys need to be excited.
Yeah, the thing, you could tell that cast. You could tell that cast really enjoys each other, because they were like, I think there's a point where Jordan's like, they're like, what's next for Khalil? And he's like, well, I don't know, because Jennifer left me high and dry last season, and China just starts laughing. It's like, it was really fun. It was really fun.
Oh my God,
I mean, they're like that in real life too. Like, that's the thing. They're like that in real life. I was like, wow.
You all should have seen Jordan Calloway last year at Comic-Con when we were interviewing him. So because he's a fanboy. Like he comes to our table and like he starts talking about Jason Todd. And listen, Jason Todd is like my son. So if anyone would talk about Jason Todd, like I will chime in and we will talk. And he's like geeking out and nerding out. And I'm like, Khalil is so horrible, but Jordan is so amazing. It's people. If you're not watching Blind Lightning, go to Netflix. Go watch all 3 seasons. It's in the Arrowverse now as well. So not that it doesn't matter if it is or isn't. You should watch it anyway. It's a show that we need to be watching right now. That needs to go on for as many seasons as possible. Like if we let why'd Oliver Queen go for 8 seasons? We need to get Blind Lightning to at least 7.
Oh yeah. I really enjoyed the panel. I didn't know one of the things that I didn't know, Clement, was Jordan Calloway's relationship to Robert Townsend. Because his father had worked on The Parenthood with Robert Townsend. So I was like, okay, just seeing all of them and Robert Townsend like as the original Black superhero media man,
right?
Moderating the panel, like it was just really fun, really cool.
Yeah, I liked it. In Hollywood, it's a very small world. So the fact that they have a relationship is pretty dope.
So that was the Black Lightning panel. Definitely recommend you guys and girls checking it out. The next panel that I watched was the Flash panel, and so I was like, let's go from one Lightning brother to another. And I had to check in with my man Barry Allen and them, and Andy B. I must say, obviously, because wasn't this released last time? But the
extended version,
in the original FanDome, but this was the extended version, and so just seeing Grant and Candace especially, and the rest of the cast and Eric Wallace, I enjoyed this panel. Obviously, again, there wasn't anything groundbreaking in terms of what to expect for next season, but I enjoyed it as one of the hosts of the Flash podcast. What did you think of the Flash panel?
What I thought was the fact that my show has the coolest showrunner, because oh my god, listen, no, okay, well, yes, Salim is cool too, and don't know much about Supergirl showrunners. I don't want to know either.
Wow,
damn,
that's some super shade, Andy.
Damn.
Well, when they start writing good stories again, they can holler at me. No, listen, Eric Wallace, I'm proud to call him a friend. He's, and also just someone that I look up to. But just hearing, Todd Helping for 5 seasons never gave Joe West that kind of spotlight that Eric did today. And talking about how what's happening right now in America is definitely going to play into Joe's arc next season.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. Yeah, that was something I'm interested in.
When you get King Jesse L. Martin on one of your shows, you need to service him. You need to make sure that you don't waste him, because Jesse L. Martin is a gift to humanity. So I'm excited that they're gonna give him more arc and so, because I feel like he, at least until season 6, he wasn't given much to do. We know he had the back injury, and thank God he's doing better now and so on. But I have just never heard anyone else involved on the Flash ever be as profound and as concerned for Joe as a character as Eric was today. So and hearing more about Chester's arc next season, and Allegra, and 2 characters that me and some of my co-hosts were a little bit uncertain at first. So when they got promoted to series regular, but I'm falling in love with these actors so much, and I want to get to know these characters better and so on. So I'm looking forward to that, and of course, the gold standard of shipping, West Allen was in the spotlight, and just hearing them listen, Grant and Candace transcend what's going on right now in the world with the pandemic. West Allen West Allen is gonna beat it. They're talking about how they're gonna be stronger next season and more closer to so on. again, my show has the best showrunner. It has the best ship. It has the fastest superhero. I mean, I'm very proud to be co-hosting a podcasting about one of the best TV shows out there.
I've always been a fan of what Grant has done in the show, but I think, and we've talked about this on the Black Lightning podcast, Clement, like the kind of person that Grant has grown into this last few months. Like I've really been impressed with him and his allyship and him, growing as a human being. And so I feel like Eric was the missing ingredient to the cast. Like the cast was already great, but maybe the leadership above them wasn't so great. And then when you bring in somebody like Eric Wallace, who has these ideas and in particular wants to promote people like Jesse playing Joe West, or give Candace more agency playing Iris. Like hell, we saw in the one episode that Eric did with Wally West, like Keenan was as good in that one episode that I think he ever was on Flash and ever was on Legends. And so like I'm really excited to see what Eric can do going forward with the show.
I mean, Eric is just like you're talking about that episode with Wally, even like Candace this season, it feels different. It feels like they actually.
Just because we don't have Todd Helbing, we can say it. We can say that.
Well,
I can say it.
I'm not going to get into the tea. It's just like, as a black man, I feel more kinship and connection with those characters now than I did in season past. And I would say like some of the seasons were really good. Season 1 and season 2 were some of my favorite TV seasons of all time. But like as a black man responding to those characters, I feel connected to them now. I don't know how you feel about it, Nate. Like I feel like I can't explain it. Like there's something emotional there for me.
Well, yeah, I think it's two things. One, I feel like the show as a whole got a different energy, and part of that is something that Andy and the gang on the Flash podcast have talked about, where Eric, split the season into 2 modules basically. And so we don't get, and here's some super shade of my own, Mimi. We don't get stuck with a guy like Cicada for a whole season of 22 episodes. We had the first half of the season with your guy Sindel playing Bloodwork, and then in the second half we had the Mirror Iris storyline, and I felt like that energy made the show feel fresher. And then, like you're saying, Clement, the fact that we had more care put into these characters of color. With Joe, with Iris, being able to have her natural hair in some episodes, the care that was put into Wally, Chester P. Runk as kind of an avatar for Eric in the show. Like I feel like there's a lot of good positive energy going on with Flash right now. And let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. Like I feel like something like the Hartley Sawyer situation, that doesn't end up the way it does if it's still under the old regime, right? I feel like the fact that Eric is in the room and is like looking at people like Candace and looking at people like Grant and saying, I want to put these actors in the best position, in the best environment. I feel like that's why, they had to get Hartley out of the paint. And so, like, I think Eric Wallace, like the fact that you got a black guy on, and like we all have shows, like Mimi with Batwoman and me and Clement with Black Lightning. We love our shows, but let's be real. Like the franchise for the CW is Flash. That's money. But the fact that like the Flash, the franchise, the flagship is now being steered by this nerdy, geeky black man. Like I love it.
Like it like when we talk about like people like Todd Helbing. And we even go back and talk about what's his face, season 1 showrunner.
Don't say his name. We don't talk about him.
But you know what I'm saying. But like the fact that it's come so far, like I would have never thought they would have put a black man in charge. Not because a black man can't do the job, but because of politics behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Oh wait, okay, now we have a black man. What is that going to mean for the cast? What is it going to mean for this? Are they going to respond to him? Are they going to respect him? And they just some networks keep with just the regular old status quo. So when they had this guy, I was like, I didn't watch for the first, few episodes because, I was going through my own drama at that point. But when I came on and I watched it, I was like, whoa, something different here. It's different vibe. And I'm like, it hit me in the face like Bruce Lee hits a board, like pretty much like just right across the face. Like I was like, whoa, there's something different, man. So for me, it's got me really back into Flash. Like I'm more invested. Like I'm even invested in Chester. Like and Chester was like, it was a fucking first couple episodes, but he came around. I was like, I really like this dude. So I can't say that's a good thing. Yeah, exactly. And I can't say even like being someone like Sinhill as the villain for season 6.
Again,
amazing.
I can't believe
he was so good.
For 3
so good.
seasons, I've been wishing for Sinhill to come on the show, and I wanted. Well, this is what's so funny because, like, I got like 2 of my biggest wishes from the Flash, and like when I met up with Eric last summer at Comic-Con, I'm like, Eric, like, do you listen to the podcast or what? Because like I've been saying that I wanted this and that, and now and he's like, and now you're being rewarded. I'm like, Eric is such a dad of this show. I'm so happy that we have like for me, like I can now see the show going to season 10, for example, like your season 9 or whatever. So and like I believe like you know what. I wouldn't even be surprised like, if, let's say, we get to season 9 and Grant is like done with that afterwards, for fair reason, because I'm sure he want to move on to other things. So maybe maybe the season 10 will be about Wally as a Flash, like as long as Eric is within the show, I'm still sticking to it. So because if I had gotten one more Cicada type of villain,
Cicada.
Listeners, I'm gonna be okay. This is confession time. I was close to dropping the Flash podcast. Like I was close to being done with it in the middle of season 5.
Oh, Cicada almost killed your enjoyment.
Both of them, but then the news came on the Hollow Reporter, like Eric Wallace is going to take over the showrunner, and I met Eric at least 3 times at that point, and I know that he is passionate, he's dedicated, he's committed, he has ambition, he has drive. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. So there's some tea for y'all.
Mimi, did you get to see the Flash?
I was gonna say, did you check out the panel? And if not, like, what did you think about the last season of the Flash?
So I haven't watched the Flash since like season 2. I have,
and we have officially dropped her from Batwoman.
No, I am sporadic with my CW binging for all the superhero shows because it's kind of like. When I was in college, it was like the Flash was on, Arrow was on, that was it. And then it's like, oh, Legends started, and I was like, all right, you got these disasters from all these other shows, and I'm invested. And like that's kind of stumbled. I watched Black Lightning season 1. I still need to catch up, but during the Lovely Situation, I'm now rewatching New Girl. But my list is like once I'm done rewatching a comedy that's like low investment, I'm going to go properly catch up on like all of the CW stuff.
You just watch a good comedy though.
Because my next one's gonna be my rewatch of Brooklyn Nine-Nine for like the 5th time.
Well, that is a good one. I want to watch New Girl.
I need to rewatch New Girl to see when Megan Fox popped in to be like, oh, that's how it happened. Like New Girl's one of the. There's a lot of shows from like 2016, like when I was graduating college, where it's like I just fell off watching so many shows. Where it's like I had maybe 3 shows I was properly up to date on. So and also like. When I was living with my dad, he was wanting to watch NCIS, and that was on the same time as The Flash. And I was like, this is literally the only show my dad watches. He deserves this. And we didn't have a DVR. So I was like, let my dad, like, watch TV. Because I caught, like, by the time 2016 happened, and well, I was in and out of so many shows. But it's like, my time on the sofa is every day of the week but Tuesday. Like, that was the shtick. But, like, out of what I've watched for fandom, I've watched, obviously, Batwoman to represent. I also watched the Lucifer panel, not all of it, just watching Lucifer, because that's my other show. Like, it's the one show my mom keeps texting me about, going, like, when's the rest of the season? When is it? Is it on today? And I was like, oh, I have no idea. And it was really cute, because she just was like, hey, Mimi, is it on yet? And I was like, not yet, Mom. I don't know when. She's like, but is it on yet? And I'm like, I still don't know your Mom. I love you. Because, like, she loves that show. Like, my mom, like, Mom kind of watches these shows with me versus my dad going, oh, it's still on? And then you have my mom who just like gave me.
My parents don't even like. I could not get my mom to watch one episode of The Flash. She's watched a little bit of Black Lightning in season 1, and she's like, "Oh, cool! It's like Luke Cage." I'm like, I mean, they're both Flash, but they're.
I mean, there are parallels.
I was almost gonna text comment. I'm like. I think my mom is being low-key racist right now because she's like, they're like the same thing. I'm like,
Oh no.
I remember that. That was fun.
My mom watched Lucifer because she just loved Lucifer. She also like really liked Warrior Nun, which I didn't expect. Like my mom and I like mindless TV, and we like Pretty People.
Wait, your mom was Warrior Nun? Is that like it's from one of those indie companies, right?
I get it's sure.
Yeah, oh my god, my mom is watching that too.
Like my mom loves that. Like I didn't expect it because like she's sharing my Netflix with my fiance and I, so she'd be like, "What else should I watch?" She's watching all the period pieces.
So
all of them.
Warrior Nun is rating high in the mother demographic.
Yeah, like I'm so proud of her. Like I didn't expect. Like I watch the same. Like I have low bar from a lot of my shows, and then I have my high bar. Like I really love Lovecraft Country on like HBO. Kind of like my TV range is like sporadic. Like give me my CW stuff that I'll love to love and hate at the same time, and give me some pretty stuff. I'm like, but like. Batwoman's fascinating.
I was gonna say let's go, Leah. Let's go to Gotham City because that was the third panel that I watched today was Batwoman, where I think they did a cool little gimmick, Mimi, where we had the cast, and then there was this conspicuous spot in the middle of the screen.
So weird, right? Like
what kind of framing is that? It'd be like if all of a sudden
the kind of framing
the picture went like this
one season.
Like this, like this. Obviously, I was trying to make a point with the. There we go. That's the point I was trying to make with the visuals, people. But so in they talk for maybe about 5 minutes or so, and then all of a sudden we're introduced in the center square of this Hollywood Squares, Mimi. We get our new Batwoman, Javicia Leslie, aka Ryan Wilder. So what'd you think of the panel?
So I was watching it originally. So I was walking my dog because I wanted to make sure I got her out beforehand because she has to deal with the fact I work inside and don't go. Like I try to take her out as much as I can. So she was like pulling me towards the mailbox. I'm like, girl, I gotta watch this. Like we're multitasking. It was amusing, and I could tell that it was already pre-filmed. So I was like, yep, this feels not scripted, but it felt like it was live, but not live, and it felt like a weird meeting. We're just like. On Zoom, how when you talk, it suddenly pops up with like other people, like the main focus thing. But the cast, it was really cool to see everyone together because that was just really nice. I haven't seen that yet.
It seemed like they already have a really good chemistry.
Yeah, and that felt really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Like I'm very excited for her to like pop, like for Ryan as mixed feelings on Ryan as a character, but I'm excited for her interaction with the rest of the cast because like, they already love her, and that was very nice because like she has odd shoes to fill. Very odd shoes to fill. Like, like she's not. They didn't just recast Kate like I was low key hoping, but they're bringing in a brand new character in an established show, and I know that's gotta suck. Like you're not a new reoccurring character. You're now one of the new main characters. Like that's a weird.
You're the title character.
Yeah, like, but also I was annoyed at the amount of times I said the word silhouette. I just like stop it. But like, I like. It was just like, oh, she got her own silhouette. And I was like, it might just be me not clicking with like how much the silhouette matters. It's just, for me, I'm just like, she's got her own suit. Like, duh, of course she deserves her own. Like, we didn't get drawings. We got really cute fan arts of the Batwoman costume that like people are doing. And I love all of that. That is making me absolutely thrilled. But I don't know if they're going to pull it off, Like, they're saying it, but at the same time, my bar for so much of Batwoman is like I love rewatching it with Amanda and Rachel. It's been so much fun because I'm appreciating the show so much more than I did in my original rewatch. You're like, oh wow, you did like a lot more. Your pacing was all over the place, but now I'm appreciating the bizarre level of pacing versus when I first watched it. Like, I enjoyed the panel. I'm disappointed I didn't get as much. I thought I'd be getting a little bit more info.
Yeah.
It felt like watching them all hang out.
Yeah, I kind of I didn't want to cut you off, but you're saying exactly the same thing I was going to say. I think Javicia, I'm very familiar with her work. She's versatile, so I really think she'll be able to adapt to the character of Ryan Wilder. And honestly, the Berlanti crew doesn't bring on anybody else from another show because she was on God Friended Me, which was a Berlanti show. Yeah. Before this. So they don't really mess with anybody if they're good. What do you say?
Here's what's so good about God Friended Me and what's good with Javicia is that it proves that she can stay behind with a TV show more than just one season.
Yeah.
And so she's
the shade coming from the lower quadrant of your screen, ladies and gentlemen.
But Javicia is going to be great, I think. But like, you still have like the way they're doing it, this has been a really peculiar situation. Like we all know, it's like it's so weird to have, because you're gonna still have Jacob Kane, you're still gonna have Sophie, you're gonna have all the main players from season 1, but now you're gonna have a new Batwoman. It's such a really peculiar situation. So like, I really, really think whatever that they're doing, they have a belief in it, but I really hope that they stick the landing, because I really want to see how are they gonna kind of introduce a new character, have her vibe with all the characters, and then continue what happened with season 1, but also introduce a new thing of season 2 with Kate Kane. So it's like, and you still have Batman missing too, or you don't have the real Batman because of the whole Hush story. So it's a weird thing, but the panel itself was really good. Yeah. I learned stuff about Javicia that I didn't know. But
she has so many plants in her house.
Yeah, like that was cute.
Right. She has so many.
Nate, remember that night we did that episode after she got cast, and her cast could have mentioned like a plant?
Yes. Maybe she's using her own plant in the show.
Yeah, but go ahead.
One of the things, like, it amuses me to just be like, I'm so excited for her, like I said, and like that's gonna be great. But I'll just do a mini comparison. It's like I'm watching my CW show, I'm watching Lovecraft Country. Just as a general example of just like 2 different levels of show. My expectations for weekly Lovecraft Country, because it's HBO, is high because it's HBO money. I expect better.
Right.
And I'm not saying I expect better in a different way for my CW shows. I'm very excited for them, but I'm also so cringy with like so much of what they've already set up for Ryan as a character. It's like, I'm just a white person and I feel bad. Like, I'm just a Jew here. It's like, and it's like you're setting up stereotypes that like just sound bad to be like, the CW for years, they keep on doing the whole like, we support everybody. It's like, I'm just, as a side tangent, like with Tony Topaz example in like Riverdale, she's like, she's pregnant. What are they going to do with that? She was already a drug deal. Like, you're setting.
Wait, hold on. Tony's pregnant?
The actress is pregnant in real life. So like,
well, then of course we're going to get stuck with it on the show too, because
So I'm very curious and scared for how they're going to do that.
Tony baby 2020.
So it's like I'm very, but it's like I will always be represented to some extent. Not the Jewish part of me, but I am a white person. I am a white brunette. I'm always represented in all of, it's like I'm never worried about seeing myself on media. Everyone else shares their time in the spotlight, and Batwoman had such a diverse cast in ways I didn't expect. But all the panel is them just patting themselves on the back for things where I'm just like, the CW has done all of the CW shows for like all the Arrowverse. You've done such a good job at better representation across the board where it's like, I'm bisexual. I see myself represented in more and more of my shows. My lesbian friends have already seen themselves represented more and more of their shows, and it's just,
where all them straights at.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you're setting up Ryan like a drug smuggler, but also like when they were just
wait, hold on. Is it confirmed that is she a drug smuggler or drug runner?
Regardless, drugs are involved in a character that you're already going to be your new lead. You don't need to do that. Like, that you could have just been like, yo, she's poor. Wow, that sucks. But like, compared to the Canes, obviously she's going to be poor. You could have.
All of us are poor. Like,
I know that, but I'm just saying, like, when you compare it to Kate, obviously they're poor. But like, you didn't need to make her just be like, she lives in a trailer. She's got a cat and some plants. Yeah. Jacob's not going to like her. Is he not going to like her because she's Batwoman, or is there going to be some racist undertones? Like, what are you setting up here?
Well, he did kind of adopt Sophie. Like, obviously, you know who Jacob is? He's the one who's like, I'm not racist. I have black friends.
He's my man from Get Out. He's Bradley Whitford from Get Out. He's like, I voted for Obama twice, and I would have for a third time.
Like, I'm just so concerned about like just Jacob's interaction with everyone. They're just like, yeah, he's not gonna like her. Just like, is he not gonna like her because she's Batwoman? Because he tried to kill his daughter last season. So my bar for Jacob's real low. Like, yes, he didn't know it was her, but like that's,
But also, Jacob doesn't like anybody.
Yeah.
Guys, like, he doesn't like anybody. So,
but I love that, sorry.
No, go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt.
I love that Cameron was like, when they talked about like what do they want for Sophie in season 2, he's like, I want her to be Commissioner Gordon. I'm like, yes, give Sophie that. Like, sorry, Jacob, but like you're here for Alice.
Rose needs to go.
Like,
yeah.
if Jacob gets low key written out, I'm not going to be upset. I'm excited.
I'm not gonna lie, because he's a good actor.
Yeah.
I've seen him be good in other things, but maybe you have a better maybe you have a better perspective, Mimi, going back and rewatching season 1. But I never connected to the character of Jacob in season 1, so I personally wouldn't miss him if they wrote him out.
Flashback Jacob, yes. Present day Jacob, no. It seemed like for example, we were rewatching the episode when it was like Sophie and Kate's breakup kind of situation, and it's like, Jacob, did you just like tell Sophie to call it off with Kate so she could continue her career? Like, you're not a good dad. Like, you just hurt my soul, and like you're, it's just.
I think Julia could replace. I think Julia is a good replacement for Jacob. Like, kind of like, like here's the thing. I hate the Crows. I'm so sick of the Crows, but I love Megan Tandy. I love Sophie Moore. I love Julia Pennyworth, even though they whitewashed her ass like crazy.
Yeah.
People don't know Julia is biracial in the comics. Alfred actually got it with a woman of color. Can you believe it? Because I just thought Alfred was asexual, but I was clearly wrong. Or at least he was the ultimate prude. Either way, the Crow and the DO, like those kind of things, they don't work anymore in the airways. Argus had to go like 7 seasons ago, and the Crow. Like, I love Mimi's idea. Like, make Sophie the new commissioner.
I can't get credit. Cameron said it, but like, like what you're saying. Like, go on.
Make Sophie the new commissioner, just because we need to get an establishment of what the hell is going on with DCPD in Gotham City, because it's weird.
Like, they exist, but not really. They're just throughout the season. It's just like, the cops are here and the Crows. Oh no! It's just like,
yeah.
Like, did the Crows just buy out the cops? Like, what?
It's not even really good at anything.
Like, there's. No, go on.
Come on, swallow your. Yeah. Eat your damn thing. I will keep talking.
No. Wait. No, I'm good now. I took a big bite of salad. But what I was going to say is, I worry about the drug storyline too, and I wonder how big of a part that's going to be. Is it going to be something that like they allude to in episode 1, and then it's like, okay, done, move on to establish the rest of the character? If it's that case, I think that there's going to be a different vibe. Already, there's a different vibe because things seem a little bit more happy between the actors, I would say.
Yeah.
And with that said, if it's a different vibe of being a black woman, bringing in a black woman as Batwoman, I hope that they bring in Luke Fox and he becomes Batwing.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, and that's the thing. I think now that we have a black Batwoman, there's a different vibe because she's going to be pushing. Javici was already mentioned like having a different hairstyle.
Yeah.
The hairstyle is different in the panel. Because I want to get back to the panel, but she was talking about that. I was like, oh, so she's already alluding to that there's a way different vibe than it was from season 1 to season 2.
Like,
maybe because of what Ruby was working on set, and maybe because Javici's a whole different person, completely different vibe. And Caroline Dries is she's hip to a lot of issues. She's hip to LGBT issues, hip to black women. So it's like, I think hopefully that they would take that and do a different vibe of basically being like, okay, Sophie's Commissioner Gordon. Okay, Commissioner Gordon, she's like in charge.
Commissioner Moore,
role. Like, I think we're in for a treat. With that said, they need to kind of deal with what's the room, what's the elephant in the room. We know what it is.
Yeah,
that big hole that Ruby left. So once they get over that, then I want to see what's going on after that.
Yeah, now you all been talking about like Ruby being the elephant and so on. So like that's where my shade comes from. Because of her, here's the thing. She's never been ill to me. I've never talked to the woman. But if she did not know how to commit a TV show, she should have not taken the role to begin with. I'm super excited for Javicia. I am super happy for her. And I'm more excited for Batwoman than I have ever been. Besides her horrible character name, because Ryan Wilder, But Ruby Rose is the reason we will never get Kate Kane back. So
I
like
have
for
a theory.
for me, like no fear. Like Kate Kane is done. So if she comes back, she'll be recast by someone. But it's just to kind of wrap up her storyline. I just for me, I'm done with Ruby. I'm sadly done with Kate Kane because I just this was just not well handled because I think Greg Bland all he did was like when they were casting Batman was like Siri open IMDb and okay now I told actually did open IMDb, hold on, sorry, and he's like looking for openly gay actresses and Siri asks, do you want to add, do you wish to add, no, I'm fine. And then he was like like Ruby was there, but my biggest disappointment with the panel was I just want to see the damn costume because we know there's a costume out there. Like people need to go back and look at the big multiverse banner that Jim Lee did. You see, there is a Batwoman.
Yeah,
and she's definitely like I mean she's. I almost said urban for some reason, but she's definitely black.
Urban. What are you, a radio programmer? We need some of this urban music.
Top 40.
Urban Top 40.
Oh my god! I want to hear me.
So like my theory is just that at some point, obviously, how many episodes is the second season? Like, I'm gonna assume it's the token 22 that like the CW model tends to follow at.
It's. I almost said the one where we can't say, but because of the pandemic, I'm hoping CW is like Mark Penaway just being like, you know what, I'm gonna have my moment now and realize that I can't put these actors through 22 episodes, and like maybe.
Maybe 12 for it. Just
let's say 20 at least, because I think there's no way it's going to be 22 as normal. Like I think 20 at least.
So like my current theory is, say for conversation's sake, it's 12. So that means you get out the first 8, for example. If this is that's bad math, 6, right? It's dyslexic math. Anyway, so like the first handful, like just by the token CW method, it's like the first 8 usually introduce your big bad and all that jazz. Like we know Sophia is going to be it. They didn't say it during the panel, but they cast it, so it's like that's exciting. So it's like you're setting up some cool stuff. So like for an example, you have a lot of loose threads with the Arkham stuff, with how Alice and Mouse left it. So it's like, where's that? I mean, Mouse is RIP, but like it's like there's a lot of just bizarre endings. It's like, oh crap, because of the pandemic. So it's just like. So the first half could be obviously Ryan fitting into her role per se, and at some point the loose thread, the background plot point that won't be their main focus, they want to give it to Ryan and Mary and all of that could be the whole where's Kate? You can't like it's there is still a bizarre chance that if we don't see Kate during the second season, if the show manages to get a third season, I feel at some point Kate will return. They'll just do some weird she's missing like. Bruce has been gone for all this time and no one knows where Bruce has been. So cool. Make Kate drop off the face of the planet and make her return. Just as like, I don't know when, but it's like comic characters do drop out all the time. Not always in your main TV show. Like as
comics.
Something I read far too many of. But like but I'm just thinking of just like characters come in and out. Like there's always new characters introduced in Wonder Woman. Like they're just one of my favorite runs with G. Willow Wilson introduced Aphrodite's daughter. And now she's not really in it, but she was cool for like the whole 6 art, like the 6 comics she was in. There's alluded to her coming back and just the general. Her brother, for example, in Wonder Woman was introduced, and now he's in and out. Jason's in and out, and I'm excited because like, oh, he's in the next arc. He hasn't been in it for like 10 issues, but cool, bring him back. Kate matters to me, and I'd like to hope at some point they remember that's what they started with, and that they'll bring her back at some point, just to tie, even just to end her damn plot point. They said they're not going to kill her off screen. Like Caroline, when people were calling out, like, "Oh, cool, what this means." Like, don't kill your gays. You can erase your gay temporarily. That's still a bad sentence. All of what I just said is not good, but like,
I wanted to add into that because a couple of months, like a month ago or something, I wrote an article for Screen Rant about how Arrowverse could solve their Batman problem once and for all, and that is by adapting or doing an adaptation of Batman Incorporated. Because for me, like there needs to be a logical reason why this boy who my mom and dad died. I'm gonna swear to protect the city for my entire life. I'm leaving now, and there has to be a reason why this boy left town. I would not be surprised. Like I could see that this Batman left Gotham City because he wanted to branch out. He wanted to franchise the symbol. And that way, because in a way, it can kind of work with Ryan too. Like that's why a new character can take over as Batwoman. And maybe what Kate does is she goes and protects. She goes and operates as Batwoman somewhere else, or maybe or Kate's ultimate arc off screen. If let's say we get a new actress, I don't know why I did this because it has to be a real actress. If we get a new actress as Kate, and she comes back to wrap up the arc, her mission could go into either one, join Batman Incorporated, or she goes out to look for Bruce.
Like
that could be cool.
They could make it that she just went off to go find Bruce. Like, yo, I'm being like my dad just tried to kill me. Let me go console my cousin. Like,
yeah.
Or just have like the missing wanted posters. Like, just there's easy little things. Not
That's
that.
right. If I see any more wanted posters for these big DC characters that are not allowed to be on TV, I can't deal with it.
But you know what I mean? They could do it. I just don't trust them to. Like, the Batman Incorporated, that sounds like a great idea. I don't think they could do it.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing for me, Mimi. And shout out to Vanessa from Black Lightning Podcast who's out there. We see you, Vanessa. Hope you're doing good. But for me, Mimi, and it's something that we talked about before we started the show tonight. It all comes down to the writers, because I have no doubt in my mind that this cast is going to be fantastic. When you talk about Rachel and Nicole and Camrys and now Javisha joining the team, like I think like the cast is going to be fine. Like they will elevate whatever material they're given, but the material has to be solid to begin with, right? Like there has to be answers given, and there has to be a way that you weave this new character into this world that's already been established. And so like I have like my level of faith for the cast is sky high. My level of faith for the creative side of things, the writers and whatnot, is not so much. So like, and obviously you've watched the show more than Andy and Clement and myself, but like
Excuse me, I watch Batwoman every Sunday night.
But do you talk about Batwoman every week, Andy B?
I write articles on Batwoman every week. I have done so much research. I have,
okay, my bad.
But I can tell you this, because one thing that I did see a lot of people were concerned about when Javisha was cast, not that she was cast, but what they were concerned about, will she have the other black voices in the writers' room? There definitely are. A Twitter friend of mine, Maya, who she worked on Arrow for the last 2 seasons. She just announced a few weeks ago that she's joined the staff. She is a staff writer for Batwoman season 2. So they're, look, I like Caroline. Like I liked what she did for Smallville. She, her final episode of that she wrote for the show before she left for Bunch of Vampires was one of the most profound and deep close episodes of all time. Clement, Legacies is the best one out of all of them anyway.
Whoa.
Elena.
No, I wasn't going to say
Elena Caroline. The original. Legacies is the best one.
I haven't watched Legacies. The Vampire Diaries holds a bizarre place in my heart of like early just to give you guys a laugh. In high school when you have to do the whole like parent-teacher conference, my mom's like, "Okay, we gotta go." I'm like, "But mom, the Vampire Diaries are on," and she's like, "We gotta be home by 8." And she's like, "No, we don't." I'm like, "Yes, we do." It was like season 2 or 3, and I was like, "I'm invested." Like I was into it. And
I was weird. Me and Mimi are right there. Like, come on, man. like Vampire Diaries. Like,
I haven't watched Legacies. I loved the originals mainly because I loved the mess that was the Michelsons, and I just loved Rebecca and like all of that.
If you love Michelsons, let me tell you about whole Michelson.
No. What do you mean? Like I'm not impressed. I'm sorry, we didn't need my main complaint with Legacies is that we didn't need it right away. The Vampire Diaries existed for 7 seasons. The originals existed back to back. You could have waited a year and I would have been more hyped. Just saying. Like if Legacies came back around now, I'd be like, give me some vampire trash.
You don't do that to Danielle.
We get off topic.
You don't do it to Danielle. You don't do it to the actress who plays Hope Ragnarsson because she's queen. But either way, there are black voices in the writers room of Batwoman. So like, hopefully they,
which is necessary.
We need it because like, and hopefully because we don't know so far if this whole drug aspect is still either one part of it or two. If it's like, I don't know if you know, I haven't told you this, but one of my friends, Tamara, she pitched this idea to me on Twitter when after the video was cast, that maybe her being a drug runner could be that she was stealing drugs from Mary's clinic.
Like, that'd be great.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's why it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we like, and that's the thing. Like, we as consumers and podcasters, we have no idea what is. We hear drug storyline and we automatically go like, oh, why would they do that to a black woman? But it could be like there's nuance there. They haven't helped to us because of obvious reasons of they don't want the plot specifics getting out. WB, CBS won't let them reveal what's going on with the show right now. There could be a whole bunch of things, but like CBS, I think
not let them reveal anything about Batwoman
because CW is owned by Warner Brothers and CBS.
Yeah, but like CBS, like they don't. CBS doesn't care about the DC shows. It's fine. Look what they did.
They still have a say. They still have a say.
Either
Speaking
way,
of,
I'm just hoping. But you know what I wish. You know what I wish. Like, I'm not saying that get rid of Caroline, but what I really wish Caroline would do is go to someone like Salim McKeel or Lamar McGee, or you know what, John Ridley. He's about to write a Black Batman book. I'm so afraid what she will do. Like, if she's not listening to her black writers saying, you can't take your first black bat person in live action and make them connected to drugs. If she doesn't listen to that, my God, am I afraid.
I have like a weird relationship with like Caroline and with like Julie Plec of just like, that was some weird times for me in my TV viewing ship. I'm just like, I love trying with them. I'm just like.
But Julie Plec, would Julie Plec do what Caroline did to Kate Kane?
Yes, it's called Bonnie Bennett was ruined and like, and I'm sorry.
Now, that part is true. That part is true. But I will say,
remember during the charity event, during the 2-hour assembly, where I was like, the Vampire Diaries is probably the only show on the CW that thinks that Black Girl Magic has to do with black witches.
God.
Oh, Caroline.
I mean, look. Here's my thing, and then I think we should probably move on because we talked like about over enough. But you know, I'm willing to give Caroline the benefit of the doubt because this is such a peculiar. Like I said, it's such a weird situation to have your lead quit the show literally days or a couple weeks after the show was renewed. That is unheard of in TV.
Yeah.
Sure, you have leads who leave like after 3, 4, 8 seasons, whatever. But this is weird. You have a hit show that everyone loves the lead. Everyone's like that. We didn't hear about the tea until afterwards, but like it's so unprecedented. So I think we need to give Caroline a little bit of breathing room and a little bit of slack to be like, okay, where are you going with this? And where are you going with it?
To that point, Clement, like they're under a lot of pressure because
they are.
What Mimi was alluding to earlier, right? Like I feel like, and it's unfair, but I feel like it's going to be the way that it is. If they stumble out of the gate or if they don't get it right for season 2, we might not get a season 3.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my thing. That's why it's like they need to get it right, but I'm also like, let's see where it goes first because who knows what they're writing. It could be leaps and bounds better than what season 1 was.
Yeah.
And Javicia Performance could be like Ruby who.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping.
And I trust those actors, man. I mean, if you can't trust Cameron with his chest all out on the panel, who can you trust?
Damn it, Nate.
I'm willing to give it like the first. When you're committing to a show of any kind, you got to give it like at least. You have to hopefully give it at least 3 episodes within the first 5. I think of it like just with reading comics. I'm staring at a Wonder Woman comic. I'm gonna show you guys it because it's pretty. Look at it. It's so pretty. But like new story arcs happen all the time. You have to give any series in comics and shows, whatever you like. When you read a book, you give it at least the first 50 to 100 pages to get through the plot. Just like general world building, I'm willing to give season 2. Obviously, I'm going to continue watching it, but it's like you got to give it at least the first 3 to 5 to just flesh out it, because like pilots are always so not good, you know? It's like it's hey, my name's Mimi, my name's Nate. Like everyone's saying their names a lot. Like you got to just get intros, you know?
Yeah, and even though this is season 2, this is essentially season 1 of this new Batwoman. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But let's move forward, guys.
Let's speak. I sent you a few documents today.
Well, yes, I was gonna say, instead of going point by point through the rest of the shows, because we talked on the major shows, the big 3, if you will, Black Lightning, Flash, and Batwoman. We do have some press releases. We do have some information. Maybe not the information that we was looking for, but we do have some information from these good people at DC to give to the people, Andy B.
Oh, you want me to read it?
That was my pitch to you to vamp so that I could pull it up. But if you got it up already, you can.
Well, yes. I mean, sorry, because my leg is acting up. That's why I'm sitting crazy. People may have already noticed it by now. I have a new bed because of something else that is new. So,
you can give people a tour of the new Andy B compound, stately but back manner, as they say.
Yeah, no, but we did get some really cool news. Some of them were kind of predictable, but it's still reassuring to know that it's set in stone. We're going forward, and I think Nate is getting to it. I think he's almost there, and. Wow, Mimi and Clement just disappeared into their phones.
No, I just got a text message. About the new Avengers game.
Ooh.
About the Avengers?
Oh, you got
about the new Avengers game.
It's pretty cool. I'm watching my fiance play it. It looks pretty nice.
You're sorry for a phone got a text about Avengers game. That's cool.
Hey, I got 4 players tonight. We going in this game. We going in.
Wait,
okay?
is it anyone that I know?
No, it's all my friends from home.
You have other friends?
Yeah, I have other friends.
Who are they?
It ain't none of your business, CIA agent. It ain't none of your business, FBI agent. I have other friends because I got it like that because I'm cool and I'm popular.
All right, so
joking.
Wow.
I mean, point one, we should maybe because I'm waiting to get a PS5 so I can get on that Avengers as well as that Spider-Man Miles Morales, that Suicide Squad. But maybe next year we need to form like a DC TV podcast gaming.
I mean,
league.
we have a YouTube channel. We have StreamYard. Why don't we listen? Because we're probably going to be in quarantine. Listen, this is listen. This week, we announced our 20th podcast.
Yes.
And we have I think at this point, we have 30 members now, 30 hosts of 20 different podcasts. So I don't know why we couldn't make something like a game streaming something.
That'd be fun.
Listen, when Gotham Knights happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but I do have some news here.
Yeah, you do have some news, finally.
Ladies and gentlemen. We will start with the Wave Rider, guys, because I think Clement mentioned it earlier, but the Wave Rider has a new passenger for season 6 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, as Liseth Chavez from Chicago PD has just been cast in the role of Esperanza Spooner Cruz. And Mimi, since I know how much you love the descriptions of these characters that Warner Brothers puts out, let me tell you what's going on with Spooner Cruz.
Let's hear it.
Tough and self-sufficient, Spooner Cruz lives off the grid, devising ingenious tech for the detection and defense against space aliens. And while some might call her paranoid, she calls it being prepared. A survivor of childhood alien abductions, Spooner now believes she has the ability to communicate telepathically with aliens, making her the perfect recruit for Wave Rider captains Sarah Lance and Ava Sharp, who in season 6 will be hunting down extraterrestrials who have been displaced throughout history.
Give me mad scientists.
Take my money now. We went from what was season 1? I mean, we're not going to talk about season 1 with Vandal Savage, but season 2 was the anomalies, right? And then season 3, we had to go back and fix stuff, and now season 4, we're hunting aliens.
Nate. Every season they have to go back and fix stuff. What is it you don't understand? That's not just a season.
They break stuff and then they fix it.
Well, yeah. And meanwhile, Barry can't even go back once in time, and without thinking, oh no.
I'm excited though. That sounds fun. Like, give me some paranoid alien ladies. Like, I'm fine with this. Like,
I keep seeing people theorizing that what the Wonder Twins kidnapped Sarah. I'm just like,
what?
Why would they do that? Sandrina ain't smart.
Yes, thank you, new Rachel. Season 2 of Legends was the time aberration. Season 3 was the anachronisms.
Yep, she's right. And also, do you see your comment above? Does Splinter have a sister named Jessica?
Oh,
if she does,
that would be amazing.
Listen to me. I love Legends. You really think DC is gonna let Legends of Tomorrow, their only sitcom, be the one thing to do Jessica Cruz? No, it's gonna be HBO Max.
True.
Well,
still,
Clement.
Wait, what's Mimi gonna say?
We've got 2 cyborgs at this point, right?
Yeah, we do.
Like, that's
what I'm saying.
Like, they could do it. They could do it if they really want to, because they're just doing weird shit anyway. They might as well. Like, that'd be pretty nice. Like, I don't need Jessica in her Green Lantern like awesomeness, but it would be pretty cool.
Well, that's the thing too, right? She can be Jessica Cruz, but not have all the bells and whistles and the razzle dazzle because we can't afford it. But she's still Jessica Cruz.
Yeah, like
right.
My anxiety.
And I mean, I don't listen. I trust the Legends writers to a point. I think Jessica Cruz, because Jessica Cruz, you can't. Mental health is one of her big, one of the big things she represents. Legends Tomorrow is not the right show. I'm not saying it's a bad show to do it. It's just not the right show to explore it.
With the tone.
Well,
Comment. Stop kissing their butts so much. You know this is
I'm
true.
not. No, I don't. Well,
I mean,
no.
Oh, eat my salad. It's like, boo, 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 boo.
Was that Clement? Sounded like Beaker from the Muppets.
I'll say this. So Phil Klemmer is one of the producers of Legends of Tomorrow. He wrote on Chuck. He was one of the big writers on Chuck.
Yeah, I know.
Chuck dealt with a lot of stuff. They went into mental health. They went into love. They did a lot of stuff.
But
so
Legends
if they did,
doesn't.
I'm saying, but the tone. But what do you say, Mimi?
It doesn't mean they can't. Like, shows should evolve, and Legends has progressively evolved in its wackiness. They could go on a serious note if they really want to. Sorry, please go on.
No, I think that's a good point.
6 seasons later, you're gonna tell me that this show that deals with time ramification as if it's just like an empty Snicker bars package, like you're gonna say, you know what? Let's go into something very serious, known as mental health. Meanwhile, Gary is having his ass eaten by a donkey because his nipple got eaten by a unicorn 2 seasons ago. Clement. This let HBO Max be the one to deal with it. Not
I'm saying if HBO Max did Jessica, they could really put that budget towards that show. But I'm saying if Legends did it, they would be able to do it because one of the best episodes of last season was the TV episode where they went from TV show to TV show to TV show, and yet there was a really profound emotion and heart found in that storyline. So I'm saying I want to see Jessica on HBO Max, but I'm saying if they did do it, I think they would be able to do it. We probably wouldn't have it to the full degree that HBO Max dedicated Green Lantern show would do it, but if they spent a few episodes saying that Jessica Cruz was on that show, they could do it because I think the writing, if we've seen anything from season 1 to season 5, that show has progressed so much in scope and scale. So
it has progressed. Okay, let's say this. I would rather that Jessica Cruz appears on Black Lightning or Stargirl, for example, because the writing there is just they have a significantly different tone from Legends.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because people always loves to accuse me as like the ultimate Legends of Tomorrow hater. No, I don't hate Legends of Tomorrow. I love it for what it is. I don't pretend that it is something that it's not. It is not this deep, analytical, complex, dramatic show. It is, it's a quirky, with depth to it, but it's not super advanced. It's like they break time and then they have to fix it.
And then we get a dance number from Cisco.
I mean, they like from the Tarazi storyline to the stuff with Ava.
There's moments
Ava,
like particularly like if you go back when they had Firestorm on the show, like the episode where they go back to slavery
back in time. Yeah,
like that was a deep episode.
The one time every season Jack's got to do something other than being their freaking engineer or whatever and so on. Either way, there's something that Legends can do that I know they can do well, but mental health, no. They cannot afford to risk messing something up like mental health, especially during times like this. Especially when Jessica Cruz is also like a big Latinx superhero. So
I would love Jessica on Black Lightning though, particularly because we kind of sorta got somebody related to Green Lantern already on the show.
Yeah, we have Lynn Stewart.
And I mean, dude, I'm saying like all I'm saying is like I agree with you.
Let's move on with the news.
Let me say this. Yeah, let me say this. I think given what Black Lightning does, given the whole it seems like DC is really leaning into the whole multiverse. They base the whole DC FanDome thing in the multiverse. So I think if they did have Jessica on, all I'm saying is if they did have Jessica on the show, they probably wouldn't explore it with the full breadth that we would want, but they would probably hit it on the head as it should be and handle it in a respectful way. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If they did bring her in.
I'm saying that Legends Tomorrow will not be the show to bring her in. They just picked that last name because, I mean, look, we had Zarya on for how many seasons, and like she was barely anything like her character name in the comics. So yeah.
So well, speaking of HBO Max, we do have HBO Max news.
Yes.
Mimi, did you know that DC's strangest group of heroes will be back to save the world as HBO Max greenlights a third season as Clement chokes on his lettuce? A third season.
Yo, I put the hot sauce on this shit is ridiculous.
I was gonna say, drink some water, brother. DC's strangest group of heroes will be back to save the world as HBO Max greenlights a third season of Doom Patrol. So Doom Patrol is coming back for season 3 now, moving from DC Universe to HBO Max proper. What have you caught any of Doom Patrol, Mimi? And what are your thoughts on the renewal?
I'm very excited to go to season 3 because now that means I have more to binge. Both Doom Patrol and The Boys are 2 shows. I mean, I know The Boys is Amazon, but those are 2 shows that I've been meaning to watch with my fiance. But our schedules time into we're both watching different animes because our off days are a little off. So it's just like we've been meaning to just sit down and do it, but we've been to like watch it, but we've just been rewatching Korra all the time. Because like we finally finished Avatar because that's just like it's our happy place, and now we're finally rewatching Korra. But I do really, really, really want to watch Doom Patrol. But every time I go to him, like, but he's not here. I gotta wait. I gotta be good. Like, I'm trying to be the good person, but I gotta give my dog some food. So be right back.
You're better than me.
What do you think about? Because I know Clement, you've been high on Doom Patrol lately. What do you think about the renewal?
I'm happy. Like, I kind of got nervous because they were in the same boat with Harley Quinn because Harley Quinn still hasn't been renewed. And also where they ended season 2 was kind of like because they had to end it at episode 9 because of the pandemic, or they had another episode.
They were so close to wrapping their 10th episode. That's what's so frustrating.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and that's why I was like, I hope it doesn't end on that point. But if it does, okay, fine. But now that they got a season 3, I'm really, really happy that they have it. We can do that. We can lean into the end of season 2 where it was, and then pick up a new storyline. And And I'm really hoping in season 3 that we get to see a lot more Negative Man and also Ronnie Evers, because like the show, I feel like Doom Patrol on average doesn't get the same weight and respect that the other DC shows do, and this show is actually as good or better than most of them. So, and I'm happy that they renewed it. So that's why I feel about it.
Yeah, like Andy, I started the first season mainly at the urging of Vanessa, because Vanessa really loves Doom Patrol. What do you think about the renewal for another season now on HBO Max?
Well, I mean, Jim Lee said they were all moving to HBO Max, so was it a big surprise? If a DC show has a panel at DC FanDome, that means they're gonna get renewed. And I'm like, so I wasn't surprised. I'm happy it's out there now, and that like they're committing to it. They're committing to like it's gonna be on this one platform, so that because DC Universe is just it's gonna be something else. But HBO Max will be like now we have 2 destinations for DC shows, CW and HBO Max. I think that will be perfect and just enough. And yeah, I definitely want to see how many episodes they're going to be getting. So because they need to wrap up their second season, and then they need to get at least maybe they will do 11 episodes, 1 for season 2, 1 for season 3, and so yeah. No, I mean this was the right thing to announce at the right date.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Like I think that again, I'm not caught all the way up on season 2, but I feel like kind of consolidating everything on HBO Max is probably the right call, and it probably should have been made before HBO Max launched. That's my little editorialism, but I think this is going to be a good move for Doom Patrol and put it in front of more eyeballs.
Do you think it's also going to help Harley? Because I really, 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 really want it to help Harley.
It's safe. It's gonna be fine.
I just want a 3rd season. You gave me the.
I want a 3rd season. I cannot wait. If they get a 3rd season, I need more Bane. Bane is one of the best characters on that show.
Yeah, I love the take on like Ron Funches as King Shark is genius.
Yeah, it's so good.
One of my best friends, Christiana, we were living together in Brooklyn. She got into comics more because she lived with me. So she knew more about Wonder Woman, Deadpool, because she loves Deadpool's character. Like that was one of the few superhero movies she like saw in person. It was like she's bad in movies. Like we joke about it, but like she saw Deadpool, she saw Black Panther. Like those are some of her favorite movies she's seen in theaters. Obviously Birds of Prey because she loves Margot Robbie. But it was great because she loves Harley on DC Universe. Like it's one of her favorite shows. She's just like, it's so good. And I'm thrilled because she's not normally a comic person. She knows stuff because of me. But she doesn't. Just like she knows it because she's friends with me, she's friends with Kat. Like she knows stuff because of us, but it's not really her thing. But she loves it for us. So I'm just like so happy she loves it. And like, more people need to watch it.
Yes.
I agree.
Speaking of cartoons, let's stay in the world of animation because we got some animation news here, Andy B.
Yes, we do.
I hope you're sitting down or laying down in your luxurious bed because I don't know if you're ready for this news. Season 4 of Young Justice is coming, and it gets a title, and it's fantastic. Young Justice fans, Season 4 of Young Justice is coming, and it will be titled Young Justice: Phantoms. So, Young Justice Season 4 is coming. Are you excited about this? Let's go back to.
Let me start with. I've been last at almost every round now, so I'm going to begin.
let's go with Andy first. Then Andy B, how do you feel about Young Justice coming back for Season 4, Young Justice Phantoms?
So I think what this means, because listen, I've been covering this show since it premiered. It was the first show I ever reviewed anywhere, like as a journalist. I think Phantoms means that they're going to be dealing with ghosts of their past. I think this is where Jason Todd comes into play fully. I think this is where a certain speedster comes into play. I think they're dealing a lot with people that they lost, like whether they come back as ghosts or surprise, I'm alive. I think it's gonna be a lot of that kind of theme and so on. And listen, Justice is one of the most profound and most well-produced animated shows of our entire generation. So I'm happy that that we know something now, because I think Outsiders was a little more difficult to kind of figure out what it was. With FanDome, I feel like it has to do with what you've lost, and it coming back to haunt you, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in, I like you, Andy. I would put Young Justice up there with the top kind of adaptations of superheroes in the animation. To me, it's right up there with the original Justice League Unlimited. I think it's that good. Clement Bryant, what do you think about Young Justice season 4? And now that we've got a title for the season, the Phantoms, are we gonna see somebody show up with that little purple spandex bodysuit? Shout out to Billy Zane. We gonna get a Phantom up in here?
I was trying to check with you for a minute, bro. I was like, where you going with this?
I thought you go with Sam Jackson on Star Wars. I'm like,
no, I'm taking it all the way back to the Billy Zane Phantom movie that got made for some reason.
I'm I'm happy for Young Justice in the way that they did it. I think I alluded to earlier, but they had the cast on the panel. And they had this epilogue that filled in between season 3 and season Justice League Phantoms is going to be, and it was really fun seeing the actual what.
But whatever season comes after season 3, it's season 4 for them.
I'm aware, but I'm emphasizing the title for emphasis. Thank you. Anyway,
1 plus 1 equals 2.
So, anyways, but I like the way that the actors were actually acting out. I really like seeing Kari Payton act out. Yeah, they were acting out. He was acting out Manta, Brick, and Aqualad, and I was like, "Oh man, this is really good." It hit me. It hit me in a way that I really wasn't expecting. So you get that, and they get the announcement. I'm excited, and I love Young Justice Outsiders. It's probably one of my top animated shows of all time. So now that we have this on the heels of that, I'm really excited to see what they do with the characters and see what the time jump is going to be too. Is it going to be 6 months afterwards? We didn't get any of that information, so I'm hyped. I'm really happy for this show.
Those are amazing showrunners they have.
Yeah.
Greg Weisman, I told him when I interviewed him for Flashpoint many years ago, that you have somehow found a way to tell a 60-minute drama live action format in 20 minutes of animation. How do you do it? I don't understand how people do it. So that's why I understood why he did Star Wars and everything and so on.
You can tell that there's a care with these characters and with the stories that they're trying to tell, Andy. Mimi, are you a fan of Young Justice? And what did you think about this news?
It's very exciting because I watched the first 2 seasons. When DC Universe originally dropped, I was like, things exist, but I'm waiting for Harley. That's how I was first dropped. That's just yay! But I was excited because I was like, I have a show to watch with Cristiano. I was excited for her to be we have a show we can watch together. That was my excitement for it. So I still need to watch season 3, but I'm very excited because I loved the first 2 seasons. It's because I watched Young Justice while I was finishing up with watching Justice League and Justice League Unlimited for the first time. When everything was leaving Netflix, it's because of all the so I was just binging all of the DC stuff, being what can I watch? So it's I still need to, for example, properly watch Batman Beyond and a lot of the other ones from when I was younger. It's I'm 27. A lot of the really good stuff happened when I wasn't watching it. It wasn't in my radar by any means. So it's Young Justice was so good from what I saw of it for the first 2 seasons, and it was so satisfying. It's I need to see the rest of it. So it's on my ever-growing list of next things to go back and binge. Because yes, it deserves a season 4. Everyone was so hyped when it came. I remember that campaign of give it a 3rd season. So it's we don't need to do it this time. It already happened.
Right.
I'm tired of campaigning for shows I love to get new seasons. Why not a herb? Just give me a 5th. Okay, I'm good. But just give me my shows. Damn it.
You're a herper?
Yeah, I am. It makes me happy.
Respect.
It makes me happy and sad in a good way of all shows.
Well, we've got one more piece of news, and I haven't watched this show, so I'm intrigued to hear
None of us have.
what my fellow panelists have to think about this. And
I don't even know why it's sent it.
Well, here's the thing, Andy. If I was to ask you, a Clement, or Mimi, how much would it cost for your thoughts? Maybe you would respond to me. My thoughts are a pennyworth. So we talking about Pennyworth season 2. I didn't even know Pennyworth season 1 was finished, to be honest with you. Pennyworth season 2 brings a surprise for Martha Kane. Martha Kane is pregnant, Clement, so she gonna have a baby in season 2 of Pennyworth. Is anybody on the panel watching Pennyworth, and is it any good?
I gotta admit, I haven't watched Pennyworth, and I was really skeptical about it when they announced it. So, but I'm happy that people are still getting work, but I just haven't watched it.
Yeah.
My interaction with Pennyworth was there was, for some reason, an early preview screening at the AMC on 18th Street, like 19th Street in the city, and I was there to see something else. I think I was there to see some the Internet romantic comedy or something when that was out, and I was like, why is there a Pennyworth poster here? Like, I walked by all these people really excited to see it, and I was like, I'm gonna go see my movie now. Bye. And bye, other people. And then I just saw my movie, and I was like, oh, there's still people. So it's like, I'll watch it eventually. Like, I liked, cool, it exists.
Yeah.
The first season had finished. Like, I know it aired, but it's like it wasn't done. Like, oh, okay.
I don't even know if I get epics. Like, I don't even know if I get that channel.
I don't.
I don't know. I have questions about it because they announced it at the same time that Gotham was going on. So I was like, it's going to time to Gotham.
It was towards the end of Gotham.
But also this I think Danny Cannon is a showrunner. He's one of the writers on it. So it was okay, same showrunner, maybe, I don't know. And I still have a lot of questions about it. Yeah. I've only seen maybe literally 2 minutes of it, probably watching one of the trailers or watching the first episode. So I barely watched the show. But maybe I should watch it now that I got season 2.
So Andy B, we know out of all of us, you've watched every episode of Pennyworth season 1. So what do you think about the news that Martha's pregnant, man?
I mean, I hear Kane, I'm just like, Kay Kane. Ruby Kane, Ruby Rose. I don't like the Canes.
Sugar Cane, Big Daddy Kane.
There's not a Martha. Why did you say that name?
Martha.
Because it's a deep moment that only people who actually understand movies would get.
I knew Andy was going to say that.
Here's my issue with Pennyworth.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he had a season 2, so. The fact that I got a press release today that Martha is pregnant, I fell on the floor laughing. Not because listen, we know it's inevitable. Bruce will be born.
Yes,
but I'm like, they have to mail us the information.
Somebody took the time to type this out.
I mean, can you imagine what WBTV publicity is going to do with the gender reveal? No, I mean, listen, I love my people at Whatever Publicity. They're all good people, but yay, Bruce is coming. I haven't checked out Pennyworth. Maybe I should. I don't get epics like most people. But it's I will say this: what I remember about Pennyworth, though, because it was coming out the same year as Batwoman, and after Comic-Con, people were watching the pilot, whatever, so on and so on. I heard more good things about the Pennyworth pilot than I did with Batwoman. So
really,
that's not saying much. The Batwoman pilot wasn't. I'm just saying,
it's a decent pilot. It's not horrible, but but now that we know that Ruby Rose was planning on leaving anyway, I'm just like.
You just erased it from your mind?
I just Bad Felicia. And
you just got memory booped like Oliver memory booped Barry during the crossover?
Yeah, I don't know this girl. She could be walking down the street and or disappear into the thin air, and I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry,
I'm kind of surprised about Pennyworth, though, because I feel like one of the things that we're all kind of saying is we'd probably get around to watching the show, but there's an accessibility barrier.
Yeah, I think that's the part of it. Yeah,
as opposed to these other shows where even if you miss it on the CW, or you miss it on HBO Max, like there's ways to watch the other shows. Whether you go to the CW website or you hit the DVDs, like there's ways to watch all these other shows. And even if I was inclined to watch Pennyworth tonight, I couldn't figure out how to watch Pennyworth on my TV.
Isn't Epix like Stars or like HBO where it's obviously it's an extra package? I've never had Epix as a channel on ever. I've had Stars once in a while during a promo, and I've had HBO all the time because it's just one of those. It's in my package.
Pennyworth, you know what Pennyworth would have been great for? BBC. Not
BBC?
Yeah.
BBC.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
BBC would be good.
It's
I don't know what the DC licensing would be with producing on an international distributor.
Right.
So I don't but they can say, all jokes aside, yes, none of us watch the show. There's no podcast for it on this network anymore.
Start the Pennyworth podcast is just an hour of Andy okay, anybody figure out how to watch it?
No, Nate. We're not gonna do this.
Podcast number 21, folks. We've announced it.
Well, since we're on the topic now, Nate, what happened this week on DC Podcast?
Yes, we got some big news, Andy B. We've I think this might be as big as the announcement that Martha's pregnant, because DC TV Podcast has given birth to yet another show, and the newest member of the family is the Justice League Dark, Andy B. We getting dark here on DC TV Podcast.
Yeah, we are. I mean, yeah, we are. It's they actually just recorded our first episode today. So it'll be coming out soon, but we're proud to we have 20 podcasts now on the network. I've completely snapped. So there's no longer whether will he or won't he. But yeah, Breeze from Black Party will be hosting it, along with 3 new members of the network, Jade, Keenan, and Ella. So if you're excited for Just League Dark on HBO Max, and which will cover both TV show and every TV show and movie that's part of that universe that J.J. Abrams is putting together. So if there's a Swamp Thing revival, they will cover it. If there's a Constantine movie, probably not with Keanu Reeves, they're gonna cover it. If there's a TV show, they will cover it. So it's gonna be a one instead of launching multiple spin-offs, we're just gonna have it all on that one platform. So go follow on Twitter at GLD Podcast, Facebook at Facebook.com/Just League Dark Podcast. It's on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, and so on. And welcome to the networks because it's.
May I say it? Sorry.
I was going to say that it's. There's a reason why we announced DC After Dark first, because I wanted Just League Dark to be the 20th, because it's a Justice League related podcast. Why wouldn't I? But much love to DC After Dark, because Morgan and Sarah are kicking ass with that show. But it was also because DC After Dark was also prepared. It was ready to go out and so on. We were just finalizing the final bits with JLD. So, Mimi, sorry, what were you saying?
So, I'm very excited for the podcast. I am so hesitant for that show because I read, when I started reading comics in 2014, it was when, New 52 was still going on. And I was it's when I was deep into reading in Hellblazer, because I took a comics class in college, and I convinced my teacher to let me write a paper on the Constantine movie versus the comics, so I could compare and contrast and just be like, I love my boy Keanu, but this photo of this guy, Matt Ryan, who's playing him, looks a lot better.
Yeah.
And it was the easiest day in my life. My teacher was really cool. But Justice League Dark was such a bizarre run for comics for me to read, because it's I went from reading classic Hellblazer, where John his magic isn't all the showy stuff that we get in Legends, and I do love it visually. It makes sense. You have to have some pizzazz, because it's when you have a magic person, you gotta be able to do cool shit. I
a little razzle dazzle.
I expect some sort of budget, but it's that run of the comics was a lot of just confusion for me, and just the New 52 was a weird time in comics. I've read back on stuff, and I'm I'm not saying Rebirth has had its moments, but it's also lasted as an event a lot longer than I also expected. like comedy, you know? So just like, I'm excited and so scared because they're not going to take my boy Matt Ryan and put him on HBO no matter how much I want. And I don't know what's going to happen with Keanu because I loved the 2005 movie as a supernatural movie.
You never know about Matt Ryan.
No, I know. I can hope. But I just like, am I really?
There are some people who, regardless of the medium, should be locked in to a character. And I kind of feel like Matt Ryan has earned the right to be Constantine until he can't.
Like if he gets it for the show, awesome. If they go with Keanu for bigger movie reasons, sure. Because like I know Keanu loves the role, like he loves Constantine because he's a nerd. It's like I respect Keanu, I love him to pieces. But
nobody watches the movie. Like it was a box office. Is that?
You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things where just like I'm so excited. Also, like isn't Justice League Dark on HBO Max? So it's like that means I will hopefully get the spooky ground. Like I want the weird that I get with Lovecraft Country for it.
Yeah.
Trust me that. No, but like I hope. It'd be great to bring in Swamp Thing isn't as much. It's like I go on tangents forever about it. I'm going to control it. But it's like I'm so excited for the podcast. It's amazing. I'm so proud of everybody. I'm so scared for that show because like am I going to get Zatanna? Am I going to get a good am I going to get that weirdly one thing? Like because I love Zatanna and John are one of my favorite dysfunctional couples for comics because like it's the good girl with the bad guy and it's fun because John's just like you're too good for me and she's like but I like you and he's like but you're too good for me but also you're bad boy. Like I love them because they're bad together but in a fun way, you know. It's like I don't want that. I do and I don't. I want Zatanna to just continue being the boss that she is solo without my boy. Makes sense. Like
find out more.
I mean I'm with you with that and here's my thing. Wait,
hold on because we got over 2 hours, and I'm just this wasn't meant to start by just Sleep Dark. It was meant to just plug the podcast. So, Minnie, you're fine. It's comment that I'm worried about.
The shade.
All I was gonna say was maybe they'll go in a different direction and cast the new Constantine, but I am against that idea because Matt Ryan is the definitive Constantine, but also who's gonna be Deadman? That's the other thing. Like Deadman and Zatanna and Constantine. If they do Swamp Thing, they need to bring back Derek Mears' Swamp Thing because he was pitch perfect.
The costume is just sitting there in
It's so good, right?
Yep.
So they can't. But like, who are they casting as the first Deadman, Zatanna, and Constantine? If you get those 3 characters right, or if you get 2 out of 3 right, I'm like, okay, cool. But Deadman, to me, since they've already got Constantine kind of figured out, just do what Matt does, or like do something a little bit like off but still what he's doing.
They're gonna go in Alan Tudyk.
Or he could be a great Deadman, but like who's Deadman, who's Zatanna? Those are the 2 that I'm like, what's the deal?
I can kind of see that a little bit. I can kind of see that
a little bit, but he's doing so much that I'm like, especially if Harley comes back for season 3. That is going to complicate it too.
Oh, because he can't voice a character in animation and play one in live action.
I'm just saying he's a popular actor. I'm just saying
he's a busy man.
I want Eliza Gonzalez from Baby Driver and from Dusk Till Dawn the series as Zatanna because I'm like,
wait, is
Eliza Gonzalez?
I thought you said Eliza Dushku because I love Eliza Dushku.
No, my fan cast for Zatanna for quite some time has been Eliza Gonzalez because I'm like I'm dyslexic, so reading backwards spells hurts my brain, so I always have to rewrite it. But it's like I want to hear Zatanna's spells in, you know, like I just want to hear it with a bit of a flair because it's already backwards. It's gonna sound weird. I want it to at least sound pretty. If that makes sense. Like saying mirror backwards doesn't sound pretty in English. It just doesn't. You know.
And shout out to New Rachel for the clarification. Zatanna appeared on Smallville, so this technically wouldn't be the first one in live action, which is a good point. So
and Surrender did her great. Surrender did her justice, but considering that it's HBO Max and it's premium, meaning like
they got that money, they got the budget
much more. They're gonna have to bring someone who can bring it because Zatanna is a complicated character.
Yeah.
If they do her the way that she is in the comics, like the actual way she is in the comics, that's going to be a hard role to cast. Same thing with Deadman.
Something great for the Sleep Dark podcast to come.
Yeah, and I'm excited for it to hear.
So good. I'm here for any Breeze Riley content. Breeze is a star. So Breeze Riley might be the best name on the network. Like,
what about Clement Bryant?
Clement Bryant is cool.
Joking.
Breeze Riley sounds like
Breeze
Riley sounds like the keyboard player from a DC go-go band.
The name is basic AF.
Nate.
Wow.
I'm mad that you brought up the DC go-go bands. I see you, Nate. I see you there bringing that up. Thank you for that, because I forgot about DC go-go for a minute.
Yes. Shout out to Justice League Dark Podcast coming your way in the near future. But that's going to wrap up our thoughts here. Before we end off things, let's go around the room one last time. Any final thoughts on FanCast Part 2? We can start with you, Mimi. Ladies first.
Man, we did it. We did the recording. It
happened.
DC did some cool shit. Sorry, I'm trying to be good at my cursing. It's like, that's not as bad.
You've done it 3 times. You come in like you both are horrible.
I'm sorry. I'm home by myself with my dog. She can't judge me.
Oh, one excuse.
But it's cool. It set a bizarre standard for just DC to do cool stuff. I didn't expect, out of all of the stuff that I consume from my media, I didn't expect DC to pull part 1 off, let alone part 2. That's pretty cool. They shelled out some interesting stuff. It could be great. I'd love to see if this, whether we're in quarantine or not, I'd love to see them pull this off again. That'd be really sweet. I didn't have to spend any money. I just didn't. I spend a lot of money on Comic-Con tickets every year for the past 5 years at this point. That's expensive. And yes, it's a great event. But I got to watch it from home with my dog and eat some food and relax and not be stressed about missing panels because I could just catch up.
Yeah.
What about you, Andy B? How did you enjoy the day? Any last thoughts on part 2?
I would have given it a little bit more, but again, seeing these cast members together again, it was I got the same joy that I get from watching a new episode of Flash or whatever every Tuesday or Wednesday or Monday, whatever it is, so on. So, even if I wish there'd been more details revealed, it's cool to see them together again. I'm hoping that we're soon, they're all going to be able to start filming a new seasons, and we get some new, because, I miss covering these shows like we do, we usually do, but this has been the weirdest year of podcasting. So, I hope if they do DC FanDome next year, I definitely hope they do it, and I hope they learn from the thing that didn't work and so. But otherwise, it was a great event. Part 1 is, that Saturday is iconic. Snyder Cut trailer, the Batman, all
Suicide Squad.
Oh yes, the Suicide Squad.
Barbara.
All the video games, Snyder Cut, Flash movie.
Yep.
So there's cool stuff.
Sinbad.
Sinbad. Oh my God, that was
hilarious. That was really great.
What about you, Clement? Or Clemaine, as Vanessa put in the comments? What did you think about part 2 of FanDome?
First of all, Clement J. Bryant, not Clemaine. Get it right. No, I'm just playing. Honestly, I'm really happy with pretty much everything. Tech issues aside, I'm really happy that DC managed to, 1, put on an event of this scale and size, but also 2, they did really well for all things considered. They did really well for the first time out the gate doing their own thing. That said, I'm curious to see what happens next year. Do they do this again and just be like, okay, by Comic-Con of, next year, by this time, hopefully by this time or Comic-Con time that the pandemic is over with, we have a vaccine, whatever, we can congregate in spaces again. I wonder if they're going to do their own thing now, because they didn't have to shell out actors for rooms. They didn't have to put up per diems or whatever. So I'm interested to see how this kind of changes the game for the con scene. That said, I'm really happy, like Mimi said, I can kick back, wake up, chill in bed all day, and then see the Batman trailer and be like, oh my God, and geek out with all of Twitter. That's pretty dope. I remember seeing that it trended all the way into the next day. That doesn't happen. So, I think they did really well, and I want to see some reveals, namely the Batwoman costume, because I want to see what that's going to look like. But, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm a happy geek right now.
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what you guys have already said. I think that, the day wasn't perfect. And in some cases, it might have underwhelmed some people out there. But I thought it was fun. I think technical issues aside, I thought it was a fun day. It was, great seeing these casts back together. I really enjoyed the Black Lightning panel. I thought that was really fun. That was one of the highlights for me. Going back and checking out the Boss panel again, just the amount of kind of diversity and representation in these shows that we cover is cool. I do think that hopefully they learn from this, because I do feel like this is going to be something that happens next year and going forward. But maybe instead of this long layoff in between the two events, we do the weekend thing where we take a Saturday and a Sunday. And Saturday's for the movies, Sunday is for the TV. And we do it like that because that way you can kind of keep the enthusiasm over the weekend and keep the conversation on people's minds. So yeah, I think my takeaway from FanDome, and I've still got stuff I gotta watch, because I gotta watch that, the Superman, the Man of Tomorrow. I was holding that off until we got through.
You watched the movie too.
I think Clement watched it today, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked it. Like during the tech issues, I was like, okay, well, let me watch this, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I was invested.
Beautiful. It's very beautiful animation, and
Yeah.
Derek is Superman. That's hot.
So
Ray Dalton, Ray Dalton coming in, I was like, ooh, I'm in.
So yeah, there's still a bunch of stuff I still have to watch on FanDome. So I'll probably throughout the rest of the night periodically check in on various shows and various panels and check out that 3-minute Ziggy Marley concert that's on there.
I like that. I was like, okay.
I thought that was cool. I wanted more though. I wanted more than 3 minutes of Ziggy Marley. You could have gave me 2 songs, brother.
Wait, can we talk about the Junkie XL?
No. We can do it off air. It's getting really late. Although I want to say one thing to Nate though. Big kudos to you running this, because again, we haven't done. I know Super Radio's done streaming and so on. It's it's working great, it's going well. So, but many of us we don't do YouTube and live as often. So, if there's something you guys want to see more of, type in the chat. Hit a like. Hit the subscribe button and hit notification. Oh my God, I'm becoming a YouTuber. Oh my God.
Smash that like button, fam.
Smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and also hit that notification bell so you can find out when we release a brand new video or when we go live.
This is fun, man.
You crushed it.
Oh, thank you. Now I gotta switch out of these regular glasses and put on these Scott Summer Stunners.
Nice.
I was thinking about Murdoch.
There we go. Oh yeah, they do kind of like the red tint. I like these. But y'all ain't here to see my glasses. But this was fun. I think we'll definitely look into doing more of these going down the line, because this was really cool. So before we get out of here, let's go around the horn one last time and pimp your socials out there so that people can know where to follow you and find more conversation about all this. Andy B, where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Andy Babak. Right down the side. I'm trying to find what it is it's reverse. So down here, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, you're trying to point?
Yeah, exactly. I'm it's here. It's here. It's right here. And you can find me on Flash Podcast and Titan/Jupiter Podcast. Here on DC Podcast Network. I write a lot for Screen Rant. I run the Marvel Report. And I just help run this insane network of DC TV podcasts. So thank you for having us live. It was so much fun.
All right, Clement Bryant, where can people find you on social media?
Twitter and Instagram at Clement Bryant, all one word. Follow me, and I don't put shit on my Twitter account, so I keep it all above board. No, I'm just follow me.
How do you put shade on your Twitter account? I don't understand.
I don't be shading people on my Twitter account. I don't be shading people.
I mean, there's some petty Twitter accounts out there.
Yeah.
Mimi, where can people find you on social media?
Andy made me realize I could have just did this earlier. But yeah, I put Morgenstein17. That's Twitter. That's my Instagram. My Instagram is more of a bookstagram where I sometimes put like book things. But it's mainly been photos of my dog because Josie's adorable and the world needs to see her everywhere. But on Twitter, you can see all of my tangents all the time, just about all the shows I watch. And it's also slightly more political because I can do that on my Twitter versus my Facebook because I don't want to deal with family drama. But you can see my opinions on things that matter on Twitter.
And find her over you can find her on Batwoman Podcast, and you can find Local Maine with Nate over at Black Lighting Podcast.
Yes, and you can find me on Twitter now that I put my name down there like Andy and Mimi. You can find me on Twitter in the number 8 MOZAIK at Nate Mosaic. If you can't find my Twitter account for some reason, then just follow Crondon, and he retweeted me, so you can find me through Crondon's Twitter account because me, I'm cool with the people of freedom like that. Crondon, Chantel, Chris Emmanuel, Lachelle, they all retweeted me today. I think maybe the show page retweeted me, but there's a lot of people that retweeted me today. I can't keep track of how famous I become on these Twitter streams.
Go retweet him.
But yeah, you can check me out. Of course, I'm part of the Black Lightning Podcast alongside Clement, Brittany, and Vanessa. So you can check us out. But yeah, this was fun, guys. Thank you to everybody that watched and the people in the comments. Rachel, new Rachel. I don't know who Rebecca is. New Rachel, Vanessa, everybody that's been commenting. This has been fun. I don't know when we'll do this again, Andy, but this was fun, like you said, man.
We should try and do it soon because we're still we still don't have any new episodes to cover. So
when's the diversity panel? It would be fun to do the diversity panel.
We will to listeners. We're gonna check in with you on that next month.
That's called putting pressure on Andy to make the diversity panel live. It's an old show business trick, kids.
Nate, all of them have been live.
I mean, they've been live, but they ain't been on this StreamYard application.
But if we're like 10 people, like, can we all fit into one StreamYard? We'll
find out.
Maybe we'll do like the Batwoman panel and have an empty space, and then Andy B just pops up halfway through.
Oh yeah, make me the diva. We're gonna take it in with you guys on that.
Happy birthday, Rachel's dad. Sorry,
it's gonna happen. Yeah. Thank you for tonight, guys. This was so much fun. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, happy birthday, Rachel's dad. I just saw that too, Mimi.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Present for the world. So yes, for Rachel, right. I guess for Rachel, since Rachel's watching, but for Mimi, for Andy, for Clement, I am Brother Nate, and we'll see you next time. Stay lit, stay safe. We're out.
Be with you.
Bye.
Bye.
Whatever slogan they use in Gotham City.
They have a slogan.
Leaving after one season,
Stay out of Gotham
like nobody's business. Dropping Gotham like one season.
Wow. Just go watch Pennyworth, people.
Yeah.